Health Committee on Oversight today. As I said before, MEC Mahile is delayed due to his aeroplane being late. And then Acting HOD Nawa, the head of Department Nawa, he is tied up in an audit committee in the department. He did phone me and he said he will try to join us a little bit later. So those are all of the apologies. Members, then we just have to confirm the agenda. I just want to make one change on the agenda. Point 5, you'll see bullet point 2, Dinner King and Cradle of Humankind World Heritage Site. I just want to move that bullet point down to the last point. Okay. Members, can we confirm the agenda as is, as amended? Thank you very much. Right. So now we will request the department to make a presentation on the budget adjustment for the 24-25 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome to the public. So we will do the first presentation. Tezi Manisi will present on our performance. On the performance of the department and its entities. Unati, can we just confirm who will present on the first item? Also, Mtezi. And Unati, the bill? The bill? Can I just find out from the head of department's office on the appropriation bill?
Ladies and gentlemen, just a change. There's a difference in my agenda and the ones that the members have. So we're first going to do the presentation by the Department of Economic Development on a provincial adjustment appropriation bill for the 24-25 financial year. Peter, is that fine?
Honourable Chair and honourable members, I just would need guidance now with the HOD not present from the HOD's office, Unati, because that would have been, in my view, the CFO.
Right, we can change the order of presentations. If the persons who are supposed to present not here yet, then we can change to assist you.
Chair, yes, apologies, sincere apologies to the committee. If we can maybe start with the Q3 report, so that the HOD's office can just establish for us where the person is. If that's in order, Chair and members.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're first going to do the third quarterly report for the 24-25 financial year. The presenter for the annual report is not here as yet, so we'll give an opportunity to come around and they will present that as well. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I also need to give you this information regarding translators. We do have translators at the back. If you want to receive a translating set to hear the translations, then you can just put up your hand and then somebody will come bring you one. The following channels on the translation set have the following languages. English is on channel 1, Afrikaans on channel 2, Sesotho, Sepedi, channel 3, isiZulu, isiXhosa, channel 4, and Chivenda, Xitsonga, channel 5. So those of you who would like to have a translation set, you can just put up your hand and then somebody from the back will bring it to you. If you want me to repeat the channels, you can just put up your hand as well in that regard once you have the set. Thank you. Mr. Chezinizi, yes. That's right. He will be presenting the third quarter report for us. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Portfolio Committee, members of the public, as well as officials from within the department. The report before you is for the performance of the department for the quarter under review, which is quarter 3 of the 2024-2025 financial year. And for this particular quarter, we had 10 indicators that are sitting in our annual performance plan, which is a plan that guides the operations of the department. So out of those 10 indicators that are due for reporting for quarter 3, we were able to achieve 7 of those and unfortunately not achieve the other 3 indicators out of the 10, and that gives us a performance of about 70% against the 10 indicators that we were supposed to report on. And in relation to the 3 indicators that we did not achieve, and these relate to the extension of broadband to our townships. And this is done through strategic partnerships with your providers such as Telkom. And the reason for us underperforming in this regard is because the strategic partners, the private sector, has decided to redirect their investment in broadband into areas where there's a higher uptake and return on investment. And unfortunately, there hasn't been a good take-up in the targeted townships. People prefer to use their handheld devices, the data on their handheld devices, instead of subscribing to a broadband or a fiber. And then the other areas where we've underperformed relate to the implementation of recommendations of the AGSA, which is the Auditor General. When they conduct audits, they obviously would identify certain areas that they want us to give attention to in order to ensure that we have a clean bill of health in relation to matters around our performance as well as financial management. So we've underperformed in this regard on the part of our entities, and the reason is largely the fact that there are certain condonations that have to be approved by Treasury. There were a lot of them, and that resulted in the delay in relation to resolving those areas. And then the other area where we've underperformed is in relation to our entities, how they've performed against their own annual performance plans. And they've underperformed, and largely that's attributed to the one key entity, which is the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. So there were challenges in relation to the implementation of infrastructure, which the GGDA is largely responsible for, and that's economic infrastructure. And the problems around the implementation of these infrastructure projects was largely around delays in the procurement process and also challenges in relation to delivery. And the MEC has given particular attention in order to address this particular challenge, and we're seeing movement in this regard, but it's not a movement that we would have wanted to see as a department, but we are making progress in that regard, Chair. So I had indicated how we've performed as a department, but also I think it will be useful to share with you how the entities themselves individually have performed. And this slide talks to exactly that. You can see that on average, most of our entities are sitting at 80%. And it varies between your GGDA. Remember, I had indicated there are challenges in relation to the implementation of infrastructure. They're sitting at 70, which is below the average for all of these entities put together. And then Cornhill and Inokeng, sorry, my apologies, Cradle of Humankind and Inokeng sitting at 58%. So those were areas of concern, once again, in relation to the average performance of all of it is put together, we are sitting at 80%. And when we combine performance for both the department and its entities, which is the entire DED group, we're sitting at 79%. You'd remember I had said that the entities themselves, so all combined, we're sitting at 79%. And I'd spoken to those areas on which we've underperformed, but just to give a sense of some of the areas where we've performed as well, is that in relation to ensuring that we pay service providers or suppliers within 15 days, we've achieved this particular target. We've made sure that we do pay our suppliers timeously so that it positively impacts on their cash flow for them to be able to continue to provide these services to ourselves. And then in relation to targeted procurement spend around women, we're sitting at 42%, which is about 2 percentage points above the target that was set in this regard. And some of the work that we're continuing to do around supporting and developing our SMMEs. We've done a capacity building around the implementation of our Consumer Protection Act, and we've trained around 100 SMMEs. And in relation to cases that are referred to our consumer court, all 5 cases that were referred to the court for the quarter under review were accordingly adjudicated. So we're sitting at 100% in that regard. And then the other important indicator that we had was around the support that we provide to business hubs within the province. And we've done that. We've provided support to Business Processing Outsourcing Skills Academy. And then the area that I had indicated earlier where we've underperformed is around broadband, extension of broadband to our townships. And then continuing on the 10 indicators that are due for reporting under this quarter, in terms of budget spend on the part of our entities, we're sitting at about 93%, which is 3% above the target of 90. And then we regularly conduct compliance audits to ensure that our entities comply with the shareholder compact and other governance-related prescripts. We're sitting at about 100% compliance. So our entities are duly complying with these governance principles. And the other areas of underperformance, 2 of the 3, as I'd indicated, are in relation to how the entities have performed against their own plans, which are the annual performance plans. We're sitting at 80% against a set target of 90%. And in relation to the implementation of the recommendations of the Auditor General, we're sitting at 75% against a set target of 90%. So I've accounted for those 3 that I indicated are areas where we've performed. As a department, in relation to how we've performed against our budget for the quarter under review, we have spent the entire budget allocated for this particular quarter. And in relation to the work that we do around gender, youth, as well as people with disabilities, we've performed as follows. Around targeted spend on women, we're sitting at 42% against a target of 40%. So we've exceeded that particular target by 2%. And then in relation to our spend around the youth, we've exceeded the target by 1%. So we're sitting at 11%. And we've not done so well in relation to people with disabilities. And this has largely been as a result of the fact that a lot of the procurement that took place under this quarter was highly specialized procurement, and entities that are meant or run by people with disabilities did not have the capability to respond to this particular specialized tenders. And then in relation to triple BEE, we are sitting at 86%, so it's about 6% above the set target of 80%. And in relation to targeted spending towards township economic revitalization, we are underperforming in this regard. And this is largely as a result of the fact that there were poor responses from these township-based enterprises, and also that some of the responses were non-compliant with SCM prescripts. And there are interventions that have been put in place to ensure that we do capacitate our entities in order to reverse this trend and ensure that they accordingly respond to these RFQs and RFPs, and that they duly comply with these supply chain management prescripts. And then in relation to the work that we're doing within this particular region around Giodi, is that we have targeted, or we're able to reach about 85 youth within the Ekurhuleni region, about 45 of those from Davidton and 40 from Tembisa, and were trained on entrepreneurial skills. And this relates to the last mile delivery project. So we're hoping that through this particular intervention, we'll be able to create business opportunities as well as employment within these targeted communities, so that they benefit from this e-commerce value chain. And the other work that we've done within the region was around training SMMEs on business compliance, and we've done this in partnership with the Greater Brakpan Chamber of Commerce. And we've also done training around digital entrepreneurship, and this was done at the Winnie Mandela Multipurpose Skills Center, targeting SMMEs, as I indicated earlier. And we've also undertaken a liquor awareness workshops targeting the LGBTQIA+ community in order to respond to challenges that they face around matters pertaining to liquor. And just a breakdown of what we've done within this particular region, focusing on the youth, people with disabilities, as well as senior citizens. We had an exhibition at Pumulani Secondary School targeting the youth in order to address matters pertaining to underage drinking as well as substance abuse. And the other work that we've done was around capacitating people with disabilities with information around consumer rights. And this we did in Duduza, the Duduza Resource Center, and we had about 40 people attending this particular intervention. And then we've also conducted workshops around Rabi Ridge, focusing on the harmful effects of alcohol, as well as matters pertaining to substance abuse. And then lastly, around our senior citizens, we were able to undertake an activity relating to consumer awareness at the Tsakani Business Park, and we were able to reach about 39 of our senior citizens. So that's, in a nutshell, Chair, members of the committee, our report for Q3. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we will go on to the various entities. Can the department get the presentation ready for the various entities? Thank you.
Can we start with the gambling board?
You can do it in the order that suits you. Thank you.
Because we will just move then your Kenya Cradle to the bottom.
It has been moved, yes.
Yeah, then we can start with the gambling board.
Sure.
Maybe Eunice Lottling, chairperson and members, will present on behalf of the gambling board.
Mrs. Eunice Lottering. Lottering, yeah. Thank you very much. Mrs. Lottering will be presenting the various entities. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members. Good morning to colleagues and the members of the public. Thank you for this opportunity. As mentioned, my name is Eunice Lottering. I'm the Senior Manager in Office of the CEO. Thank you. So I think by way of introduction, I think it's important for us to introduce ourselves as an organization, to say we are the Gauteng Gambling Board. We are a Schedule 3C public entity in terms of the PFMA, and we report to the Department of Economic Development. Our mandate is to regulate and control gambling in the province with the view of ensuring ethical business practices. We also promote transformation in the industry. We collect revenue, and we also ensure that punters are protected and that the entire public is also protected against the social ills of gambling. So in terms of Q3 reporting, we had 9 targets in our annual performance plan. The targets are listed as follows. We had to ensure that we achieve 100% within 15 days after receipt of correct invoices from our suppliers. So we've ensured that our suppliers are paid within the 15 days. The second one, we had to have a stakeholder relations management strategy. This document outlines who our stakeholders are. It also ensures that we interact with all the stakeholders in Gauteng in relation with gambling, to source inputs and also find out what complaints are there so that we can be able to regulate and control gambling. So we have this developed the stakeholder relations management strategy, and we are utilizing it to have those engagements with both our stakeholders, being government, licensees, and NGOs, as well as the public. The third indicator is ensuring that we achieve 100% of gambling license application we process license applications within 120 days. So for you to have a license, okay, let me rephrase. In us regulating and controlling gambling, we receive all sorts of applications, whether it be application to have a license to operate a casino, a bookmaker, or a bingo, or applications to work in the gambling industry. So we make sure that we process these license applications within 120 days. They would go through processes of vetting, of probity investigation into the shareholders of the licensee so that we can better know who we are licensing. So the process will also go to the board for the board to deliberate on the application and approve it within that 120 days. So we have achieved 100% in that regard because the board has approved licenses before the expiry date of 120. The second one, like I've said, we also approve employees who work in the gambling industry. So if you have applied to work in the gambling industry, such application must be processed within 45 days. So we have ensured that we achieve 100%. There are no applications that exceeded the 45 working days as per the requirements of the APP. In controlling and regulating gambling, we also process application equipment that is used in the industry. So if you want to bring in a machine into an outlet, so we have placed the target at 90% because that might be needed from the applicants. So we have achieved our 90% in this regard. The next target is where we are saying we investigate non-compliance incidences and report those to the CEO within 70 working days. So here, when licensees are non-compliant with our legislation or relevant legislation, your National Gambling Board, your Financial Intelligence Act, and so forth, we investigate such incidences and we process the investigation. We do have evidence leaders and adjudicators that would adjudicate on this on the non-compliances. So that process would take 70 working days so that the non-compliance can be brought to justice. So that also has taken us, we have achieved 100%. The next one is the disputes that must be resolved within the 70 days. So if you are a punter, a gambler, and you have a dispute with our licensee, be it Hollywood, Superbets, casinos, Gold Reef City, and all, we also call you and the relevant licensee and then investigate the disputes and make sure that we resolve it within 70 days and give feedback. So we've achieved 100% as well. The next one, we conduct raids, our law enforcement agency, we conduct raids with law enforcement agencies to close illegal operations. This is one effort that we do to protect our punters, members of the public, against illegal operators. So here we work well with the police, with the Metro Police as well, to make sure that we close down all those illegal operators. Here we have overachieved. For Q3, we had 168 raids. Normally, per target, per quarter, our target is 125. But during Q3, we had 168, which is an overachievement. The reason for overachievement here was we have strengthened our working relations with the South African Police Services. They are establishing a unit that will only focus on gambling, and also we go out there and teach the police on to identify illegal operators. So we have overachieved in this regard. On the next one is the number of responsible and illegal gambling awareness programs conducted. So quarterly, for quarter 3, we had a target of 10 to go and have outreach at schools, at taxi ranks, with the senior citizens through social media or television to teach our public on the social ills of gambling, and also to say, if you are a gambler, you must know when to stop, be responsible about it. So we have made sure that we have 10 outreach out there in order to achieve our target. So in Ekurhuleni, the GGP had the following interventions during the quarter. We've assisted with the construction of a netball court at Mampudi Primary School in Vosloorus, the refurbishment of the netball and soccer field at Kuzimisela Primary School in Davidton. And then as a GGP, we also issued licenses in the Gauteng province, but specifically in Ekurhuleni, we had 13 bookmaker licenses during 2022-23, and they are still being operationalized to date. So we also have issued 2 bingo licenses during 2023 and during the financial year 2023-2024. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. The department will be doing a presentation next on the Gauteng Tourism Authority. Right,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you, Chair and members. Mr. Mohammed Cowan is the CFO, and he will then present on behalf of the Tourism Authority. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Or are you fine with this one, which I was given yesterday? No, if you've got the updated one. All right. I'm assuming it's this one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I can go. Yeah. Thanks.
Good morning, Mr. Chairperson. Good morning, the honourable members of the committee. Good morning to my colleagues from the department and the entities, and as well to members of the public. My name is Mohammed Chouad. I am the CFO at the Gauteng Tourism Authority. I'm also ably supported by my CEO, Ms. Dlamini, who is also present here today. I'm here to present our entity's performance for the 3rd quarter of the fiscal. In terms of an introduction, in terms of who we are and our vision and our mission, it's number 1, to position Gauteng as a globally competitive destination of choice, as well as then to promote and develop and coordinate sustainable tourism in the Gauteng city region, which will add economic value to the province that we all live in. In terms of how we are structured, we have 4 programs, and I will give our performance for those 4 programs. They are strategic support, destination marketing, bidding and hosting, destination management, and development. So in terms of an overview, in terms of how did we perform for the quarter, we had 5 targets that were due for reporting in Q3, and we achieved all of them, 5 out of 5. I'll just go into a little bit of detail in each one of them. In terms of strategic support, we had to have PDI suppliers participate in our supplier development program. We had a Q3 target of 20, and we overachieved there. We had 26 out of 20 that participated. In terms of events to be hosted in our townships, we had a Q3 target of 4, and we achieved the 4. The 4 being the Josie Comes Alive, the Soweto Investment Conference, Auto Mechanica, as well as the Pele Block Party. In terms of destination management and development, we had the number of capacity building initiatives implemented. Our target was 3, and we achieved those 3. In terms of the number of SMEs that we provided with access to market, there was 50, and we achieved 75. And in terms of the number of tourism hubs provided with tourism safety programs, the target was 2, and we achieved 2. I just want to, I think this is where some of you will be interested in, what did the GTA projects, what did we implement in this region specifically? So the first project was the Culinary Accelerator Program for entrepreneurs. It was between the 21st of October to the 20th of November 2024. It was held at the SA Chef's offices, which is in UJ Auckland Park, Johannesburg. And in summary, what we targeted was 22 beneficiaries from the informal food sector, which aimed to enhance the participants' business management, teach them food safety, financial skills, market competitiveness, in essence, equipping them with the tools necessary to strengthen their entrepreneurial ventures. In terms of the budget that was spent specifically for Ekurhuleni, it was 380,000 rands. The next project implemented in this region was the Embassy's Business Fair and Conference. It was held between the 20th and the 21st of November 2024. So this event provided direct access for 20 SMMEs and business support platforms from key business support agencies and entities across the globe. Master classes were provided with business ideas on removing trade barriers and promoting fair trade business practices. Specifically, the areas that benefited were Ekurhuleni and Modderfontein, and it was the amount spent was 260,400. Lastly, Chair, I will just speak to our GTA's performance in terms of our budget and expenditure. So in summary, on the last line, you will note at the last 5 columns, we received an original budget from the department of about 112.5 million rands, which was later adjusted to 141 million. We have spent, the actual is just shy of 100 million at 99.7 million. So we have spent 71% of our budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next presentation will be we'll just make a change in the order. Tshwane Special Economic Zone, TAZES, they want to make a presentation now because they have to leave early. So you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much, Chair. SOPA will be there on Monday, so they are preparing for SOPA, so they've got a 12 o'clock engagement. Thank you for the indulgence. Bianca Jagger will present. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members, and thank you, community. My name is Bianca Jagger. I'm the Senior Manager for Monitoring and Evaluation in a company called Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. And I think by its name, you already know where it is. We are located next to Ford in Silverton. We are one of the newer entities within the group. We were established in 2020 specifically to support the automotive sector and to support job creation within the automotive sector. At that point, government requested that a new special economic zone be developed where we can have international companies and local companies that produce goods for the automotive sector. So our premises is literally just next to the Ford plant in Tshwane in Silverton, and the companies that's situated in these in the economic zone produces parts for what you would see today, the Ford Ranger on the road. So a lot of the components that's produced for the Ford Ranger and also for the Amarok is produced in our special economic zone. And the reason for us close to what we call an original equipment manufacturer or OEM is to help with the logistics cost. As I mentioned before, to understand, 4 years ago, Ford produced a Ford. Through the development of the special economic zone, Ford is now producing a Ford Ranger every 3 minutes. So by the time that we leave here today, Ford would nearly have produced more than 700 cars. They produce 700 cars a day. So just in understanding that, you can think the wheels on the car, the chassis on the car, all these things needs suppliers, needs employees, needs the community to support with producing these components. And when we were established in 2020, it was also to support the local communities. We did a social compact with the local communities in the area, specifically on the construction side, to help us with the construction. So you will see the presentation I'm presenting here, I focus a lot on supporting the local communities, getting procurement from the local communities for the construction of the facilities. We had to do it during COVID. We're now going to phase 2. So really our role is to attract investment, and through that investment, we start creating more jobs. And through those jobs, we start creating more opportunities for SMMEs in the value chain, whether it's on the construction side or whether it's on in the automotive space side as well. So that is why Tshwane was established. And like I said, our buildings were put up in record time during a time of COVID, and so I think it's something as a entity of the province that we are very proud of. Peter, as you mentioned, the SOPA is now going to be hosted there at our facility. I think it's a great honor for us as STARS as well to host an event like this. But it's purely because of the time and the way that this project has grown. I'll show you some photos later as well. So this is just a quick map for the community to understand. There on the left-hand side, you can see Ford Motor Company, and this whole development here, the phases that we're talking about is the development that construction that we did of companies that we are hosting there in the park. So it looks small on this map, but it's a several number of soccer fields of development that we did. Just one of the facilities is more than 100 soccer fields in size, because they are making chassis there and they're quite big. So it's quite a large scale development that is taking place there. So as I mentioned, when we started in 2020 with the construction, we completed phase 1 in 2023, and we are now busy commencing with phase 2 of the development. And phase 2 of the development is specifically for the smaller companies. Phase 1 was really to attract the multinational and the first years, and now phase 2 is how can we attract the smaller companies into the zone. We already have some companies coming into phase 2, so we're actually starting construction of that as well. Now, all these areas here, when you went there in 2020, there was nothing there. There wasn't even proper road infrastructure, electricity or water. So all those things, is not just the top structures, but we are to also to include all these things as well. This is just a photo. So there in August 2020, the picture one, showing that there was really nothing there. In November, you could start seeing, but there's some movement, there's some clearing that is taking place there. And then literally a year later, we had factories already up and running. 3 of the factories were already up and running. So literally from November 2020 to November 2021, we had a number of factories. So construction took 12 months. And we also still needed to give the companies time to put in their own machinery. And then in November 2022, the whole first phase, as I showed you, was basically developed, and we had all the investors into this phase. Here's some pictures. We're also housing, you can see the Ford logo there on the one side. We're also housing another Ford plant in our facilities, like I mentioned, where they make the chassis of the cars, the undercarriage of the cars. This is quite a big facility. Just in terms of the amount of people working, there's more than 1,000 people working in the Ford facility alone. More than 1,000 new jobs were created through this one. In the zone alone. And just in terms of technology, this is one of the most advanced frame facilities in the world currently that we are proud of, that we actually have here in South Africa. So from a technology point of view, the investment that Ford also made into this facility is also quite good. So through this investment that government made, the private sector has invested more than 5.9 billion rand on this project through their own equipment, through the employment of the people. The construction is packages that we awarded. More than 45% of the packages in the construction phase that we awarded, amounts to about 1.7 billion, was for the SMMEs in the surrounding township communities that was allocated to that. We evaluate that on a monthly basis, and we make sure that with the social compact with the community, that we allocate packages, construction packages to the communities as well. Government's investment year to date is into the program is 4.12, but that includes phase 2 as well of the development. Construction jobs that has been created year to date is more than 5,500 construction jobs, and permanent jobs, people working within the zone, is currently sitting at more than 3,422 jobs. Here is just some of the investors currently in our zone. I mentioned Ford is an investor in the zone. You can see that's an American-based company there. Then we've got a South African-based company as well. They do some molding parts for the components that goes in. Then we also have a company that's originated from France that's got South African shareholding now. It's also in the zone. And then there's several other companies, and you can see there's some from Portugal, some from Thailand, and some even joint ventures, because I think it was also important for us to make sure that it's not just foreign companies, but that we have South African-owned companies in there. The social compact that we also created with the community is that at least 70% of the jobs that's created within the zone comes from the township communities as well. So that more than 5,000, all the construction jobs were from the areas in the surrounding areas, and the jobs within the companies, more than 70% of that is actually created through employment from the surrounding township communities that we do. As TASES, we also support these companies then with training and upskilling some of the individuals that's coming in. We also help them with the employment and sourcing of the individuals that comes into the program as well. As I mentioned, we've now done phase 1. We've created 5,000 jobs, more than 8,000 jobs in total. What is next for us? As I mentioned, we're now into phase 2. We started with the design works. We appointed contractors now to start with some of the construction work for the phase 2 of the development as well, where we will have smaller factories also to house some of the SMMEs. One of the first sites that we will also now build that is quite exciting is Ford will be going into hybrid. So it's critical for us if we want to create these jobs and if we want to keep Ford here is that they are being able to export their vehicles internationally as well. So Ford, in this program alone, Ford alone will invest more than 5.2 billion rand into this project, and a government investment will be about 1.2 billion rand to get this project off the ground. Like we said, the number of job opportunities created in here is also more than 1,000 jobs that will be created just through this one additional project that we are doing. Then just a quick, in terms of our performance, as I think my previous colleagues mentioned, we are evaluated. We've got targets that we need to achieve. So for this financial year up to Q3, we had 8 targets, and I think the first presentation mentioned that we are at 75%. Six of the 8 targets we've achieved. 2 targets we haven't achieved yet, and that is because there was a delay in phase 2 construction. But the targets that we have achieved is how long does it take us to pay our invoices. We've got a target of 14 days. We are paying those invoices in 8.7 days on average. We've received a clean audit. And then the number of SMMEs that we are helping and mentoring, our target up to Q3 was 30, and we've trained 32. In terms of the number of individuals trained, our target there was 700, and that's why I said that individuals is creating the pipeline for job placements or for SMMEs. We've overachieved the target there for this year. We're sitting at 856. Then also SMMEs in construction. We train both automotive and construction. We had a target of 30 for the year, and we currently have trained 30. The one target that we have not achieved, like I mentioned, we are delayed with construction of phase 2 a bit. So here we're planning to create 100 jobs so far. We've only created 44 jobs, but as we now get the appointments going, these jobs will also increase, and we also just subsequently made appointments of contractors, so we do see these targets going up. This is then also linked to the SMME packages that we will be doing. So we haven't achieved the SMME packages because we haven't actually issued contracts yet for the SMMEs for this financial year. But as I said, year to date, if you look at the overall achievement, we're still sitting at a 45% SMME packages being awarded. The money we've put in versus what the packages we've awarded, we are still sitting at a 45% packages awarded. Then we also look at the number of jobs created in a certain time period of them. This is the permanent jobs. We're sitting there at 187 jobs against a target of 100, and that is due to some suppliers getting additional work within the zone, so they employed more people. As I mentioned, the one there that's red is the SMME packages. So for the year, it would seem like we haven't awarded. We have been making payments, but this target is specifically to the awards, and those awards will now only take place. But over the project duration, as I mentioned, we are still looking good. We are still sitting at 45% there. Then rand value of the private sector, that's how much money are they investing into the zone. As I mentioned before, from inception, we've done more than 5 billion rand of investment, and for this year alone, there's 1.3 billion rand of investment against our initial target of 600. So we are achieving that. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much for that presentation. It's quite interesting to hear how fast they can build a Ford bakkie. Next will be the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, GGDA. Thank you. I just want to hear, are you going to leave earlier, so you won't be here for the questions? Can I just sort of change protocol a bit and allow questions on your presentation now before you leave? Okay, that's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, because the presenter will be leaving earlier, I want to give you an opportunity to engage with her before she leaves about the Tshwane Automotive Zone, Economic and Automotive Zone. So are there any questions with regard to the factories based in Tshwane from your side? Nothing? I see one hand over there. Opportunity now. There's a hand back there, and there's a hand over here. And once we've had questions from yourselves, then we'll give an opportunity for the members to ask a question if there's any. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. My name is Nomthanda Zombande. I'm from the Gauteng Disability Business Chamber. I've seen the presentation regarding the development there, but then I'm missing the component where we show how much impact has that made to the people with disabilities, both in terms of employment and also in terms of businesses. That's probably what I would love to know in terms of the SMEs that have been mentored, and also the amount that's spent, how much has gone to people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question. Next person.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Khawelo. I normally introduce myself as a proud father of 2 absolutely gorgeous babies. But beyond that, I'm also an entrepreneur. I manufacture dairy products in the East Rand in Katlehong. A beautiful presentation brought some tears to my eyes. But my question is, in terms of the SMEs that you support, at what level do you take them in, and what is entailed within the program? We've seen most of our entrepreneurs, we go to a lot of trainings, and it ends up there, but most of the holdups that we have is compliance. back to the, just to add on to the sister's question as well, what impact and how in depth are you guys in developing these entrepreneurs? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person, I think over here.
Well, I'm covered because I was also on disability.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? I think that's everyone. Thank you. Members, any questions from your side? Does it look like it? Okay. Member Mfikwe.
Sorry, Chair. The last question here.
Oh, sorry. There's a last question over there, and then Member Mfikwe.
Greetings to the entire city. All protocols observed. I myself have an ICT business that has been operational for more than 2 years without any benefit from economic development. It is impossible to develop a business that runs within the non-developing economic environment. What is it that a young entrepreneur needs to do that maybe I was not doing right in order for one to be a beneficiary of the economic development procurement? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that question. I think that was the last one from the audience. Thank you. Member Mfikwe.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning. I just have 3 questions. In fact, the third one is not a question. It's the rule of the presentations is that at the end of the work that the department or the entities are doing, we should get a sense as to what is the contribution of each entity or portfolio into the area where the meetings are held. We did not pick up the sense from Tazas. I'm not sure if there's no beneficiation for the communities of here on the work that the entity is doing. My first question on the presentation, Chair, on the fourth frame plant, there is Fort of South Africa there, and there is a USA flag. We are not getting a sense what is the USA flag for. Or is it a company? No, it's written for South Africa. MEC, good morning, and you are welcome. It's written there, MEC, Ford Motor Company of South Africa. It's written there. So that's where the confusion comes in. Then there's an American flag. And when she presented, she said, Ford Motor Company of South Africa and an American flag there. So that is why I'm asking MEC, what is the flag for? And what is the Ford for South Africa of? So MEC says Ford is an American company, so the presentation is a problem on its own, MEC. Then the slide on the fourth plant also gives us the floor plan of Ford and gives us what we are going to contribute in the development of the plant. But it does not give an indication of what Ford is going to add onto the contribution to the development of that plant. So that is my question, Chair. What is Ford's contribution to the development of this beautiful plant that is likely going to give us quite a lot of work? And we do appreciate that the entity is contributing beautifully to the creation of temporary and permanent jobs for our residents. We really applaud them there. But then in this development, if I am a Lini Ford, thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Mfikwe. I have another question from Member Ngubeni.
Yeah, it's Ngubeni, Chair.
Ngubeni.
Yeah, but let me also thank the presenter for a very impressive work that they are doing. My question is one, Chair, especially with the work that they are doing and the number of jobs that they are creating and the potential that this development zone has in doing even bigger things. I want to check with the presenter on the progress in regards to the bulk infrastructure work that's supposed to be funded by GDED, and I think it's also the Department of was it DTIC, if I'm not correct. There is an amount that has been mentioned on the presentation that indicates that there should be that funding that should come to assist with the bulk infrastructure. Because with that bulk infrastructure, it means that there will be expansion, and that expansion will then lead to more jobs and more opportunities for people around Tshwane and in Gauteng in particular. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Member Evans.
Thank you, Chair. I think the departments will by now, from now on, get fed up with me, because I'm going to continue asking same questions over and over to the GTA. The programs that you've introduced, how many colored communities have benefited from it? And to today's this, one of my questions were the amount of jobs created, but you've answered that question, between 5 and 8,000 jobs. Thank you. The first person that asked our question covered, and then to take this again, how many of the 10 positions that you have available will go to the colored communities? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Evans. I just want to make sure the question is posed to the Gauteng Tourism Authority, or is it to the Tshwane Automotive Zone? Okay, thank you very much. I think that's the last question. Thank you. If we can have your answers, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, I'll start from the first question from the community. In terms of disability, we do record disability, and also, like I mentioned, when we talk about the social compact that we signed with the community, a part of that is that social compact is also signed with the disability associations in and around the community. So we are working closely with the associations as well to support us to identify people with disabilities. With a job creation point of view, we're sitting at overall about 2.1% being allocated to people with disabilities. From a procurement point spent of view, there's some area that we are still working on. We would like to reach a target of at least 2%, but we're currently just sitting there at 1%. I think that's also due to the construction, from a construction point of view, that we are working closely with the community to try and find other SMMEs, specifically for disabled SMMEs from a construction point of view. But we've got a whole database of SMMEs and people with disabilities that we are working closer with, and we are always inviting new pipeline of people that can come into that. When it comes to training, there's also a lot of focus to support the people with disabilities as well, so that we can actually enhance, get that percentage up. Honest, that's not where we want it to be, but I think we are working closely with the community to try and get a stronger pipeline of people with disabilities in that regard. Then the second question was, so if we are doing training with the SMMEs, what type of training are we doing? And like I mentioned, we do training on both sides, on the construction side and on the automotive side. So for us, we need to be very practical on the construction side. We take them through the governance and compliance matters that we need to look at. We do training with them how to do the quotations, because a lot of time the SMMEs actually don't get the work just purely, and I think it was stated purely because they did not respond correctly to the tenders. So we put a lot of time into the practical examples of previous case studies, and we put that to the teams to start doing that training. But then we also do hands-on training with the SMMEs, whether it's construction or automotive. It depends on what type of SMME they are. On the automotive side, there is also a lot of governance, compliance, health and safety, and quality management systems that we help them to get training on those type of things as well. So it depends, the short answer, it depends on each SMME. There is some projects that's generic, but when it comes to the mentoring, it's really for us that one-on-one approach with the SMME to understand where their strengths and weaknesses are and what they need to do as a SMME. So that's why we're calling it mentoring and not training. Training, you attend a classroom and you go for the training. Mentoring is an ongoing process of assisting the SMME. So that's the difference for us between mentoring and training there. Then in terms of the question on from the young entrepreneur that has a ICT business, it's difficult to sit here and answer that if you don't have the understanding of what you've done and where you are with regards to that. And I think that's what we try and do with the SMMEs we work with, is to really understand what have they done, where they can, what do they need to do. I don't think there's a one solution fits all at the end of the day. So it's a very, I think you asked a very broad, generic question. But I think what you would need to do is to get to one of the agencies that can support you and identifying what you have done to date and what you can do to enhance your business as well. Then, in terms of rules of the presentation, Chair, I do take note that it requests that we also need to show what exactly the impact is in this area. I think because we are at TASES, a lot of the jobs and the social compact that we have with the community there, 70% of the jobs is basically earmarked for the surrounding communities, and then 30% of the jobs is then for the larger Gauteng region that we are focusing on. So we can try and pull the stats per specific municipal area or municipal region to also show exactly then what we have achieved for the specific area in terms of SMME development as well. Then in terms of the confusion on the American flag, thank you, MEC, for answering that one. But I think we just showed the flags there because it's important for us to show where is the international investors coming from. In that self, it can open up risks or opportunities for where we should be focusing on. So that's why we are putting those flags up there, just to show where these investors are coming from. Then with regards to the layout, that it was noted that we're not showing the forward investment there. I think, Chair, it was indicated on the slide there, it's a 5.2 billion rand additional investment that Ford alone will be making with regards to that. And I think we've also indicated that. I think it's on that presentation there. Apologies, the presentation is not showing here, but it's on the presentation there that Ford will be making a 5.2 billion rand investment. Then the question in terms of what is the progress from funding. Obviously, we're waiting for the final confirmations, but we have from GDET, we are getting the support from the bulk infrastructure point of view for the phase 2. We already received funding from the DTIC for the top structures. The only one that we're wanting formal confirmation from is still the City of Ekurhuleni, and we are basically in contact with them on a daily basis to confirm their portion of the bulk infrastructure that we need to receive for that. We are currently using some of our own funds to fund some of the shortfalls to what the City of Ekurhuleni is supposed to be paying for us on that. Then in terms of the coloured communities, I think specifically where we are located in terms of Esterist, we actually, a lot of the SMMEs and the jobs created comes from the coloured communities. Percentage-wise, it is actually quite a high value for us, specifically on the SMME side, that we are seeing that there is a lot of SMME companies. I also just look at the percentage, but at one stage we were actually sitting quite high, quite more than 30% that actually went to the coloured communities due to the Esterist community that we also have there. But as I also mentioned, in terms of job creation as well, it is above average or above the norms that we are sitting with regards to that. Chair, I hope I responded to all the questions.
Yes, thank you very much for your answers. There's just one late question here from Member Abrams.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. It's not a question. I would just like to comment on the statement that you've just raised on the employment rate, the percentage of employment rate from Esterist. Esterist is my constituency. I serve in that community, and I tend to disagree with you. The applications that come through and the appointments that are made, and I think we need to be honest with the community. We must be transparent with the community. Applications that get sent through and appointments that's being made, it's not a true reflection that what you have just presented to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Do you want to respond to that?
Chair, I think what we can do is send through the data on specifically on the community, and then we can verify that.
Right.
But we note that. Thank you very much,
We
Chair.
appreciate. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Welcome, MEC. You sort of just slipped in here between all the talk, but welcome, and we've noted your apology due to the plane, the latest due to the plane. Thank you very much. The next presentation will then be the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. Is that right? Mrs. Barnard. Barnard. Okay, Barnard. Thank you very much. You're more than welcome.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of the committee and MEC and members of the public. My name is Manisha, and I will be going through the GGDA Q3 performance. The GGDA group had a total of 28 planned targets for the quarter. Of the 28 planned targets, 20 were achieved, which is 71%. 8 of the targets were not achieved. The GGDA group consists of the holdings company AIDC, TIH, GIDZ. At holdings, there were 6 targets not achieved. Both AIDC and TIH achieved 100%. GIDZ had 1 target due for the quarter, which was not achieved. The Conil had 4 targets, and of which only 1 was not achieved. In terms of the group achievement, at the holdings company, the 2 achieved targets from the 8 were the appointment of 16 local subcontractors for our construction projects. 59 of the expansion opportunities for Gauteng businesses were achieved. At the AIDC, all 5 of the targets that were set for the quarter were achieved. These targets were 1,100 employed individuals that were upskilled during the quarter. 88 million revenue was generated by the SMMEs operating within the AIDC incubation programs, which is the Ford and Nissan incubation programs. 189 of 180 candidate artisans were declared competent at the AIDC Trade Test Center. 47 township-based SMMEs were upskilled in the auto sector skills during the quarter, and 2.4 million revenue was generated by the SMMEs operating within the Winterveld and Shamdo automotive hubs. And TIH, at the TIH achieved all 10 of their targets. There seems to be an error on this. The Conil achieved 75% of their targets, which is 3 out of the 4 that were set. In terms of the targets for Conil, 56,000 people were visiting the Conil during the Q3 period. 100 public programs were hosted, and 1,292 creatives benefited from the Creative Uprising program. In terms of the targets that were not achieved for the quarter, there were 8 of the 28 planned. The bulk of the targets not achieved were at the holdings company and were related to the infrastructure projects. As indicated by my colleague at the department, the indicators on the infrastructure project had legacy issues when it came to procurement. The other indicator that was not achieved at holdings was around the facilitation of foreign direct investment. Again, at the GRDZ, it was the construction target that was not achieved, and Conil did not achieve the target on sales and earned revenue. I will just go through the detail of the non-achieved targets. Just an overview of it because there's quite a bit. On the rand value of foreign direct investments, the target of 10 billion during the quarter was not achieved. We, however, did achieve 3.5 billion. The reasons for this were that the bulk of the investment projects being facilitated during the quarter were still in various stages of facilitation and were not concluded. Just to note that there were key investments that were facilitated during the quarter. There were 3 investments in the steel, 2 in the steel sector and 1 in the automotive sector, which led to a 2.1 billion achievement. From these investments, FDI investments that were facilitated during the quarter, 1,135 jobs were reported. In terms of the DDI investments facilitated during the quarter, there was 1 investment in the food and beverage sector, an investment of 1.2 million with 43 jobs created. In terms of investment projects in the Ekurhuleni region, during the 24-25 financial year and the 23-24 period, there was a total of 25.2 billion worth of investment in the Ekurhuleni region and 2.9 billion worth of trade from this region. The jobs recorded from these investment projects and the trade projects was 3,101. That is within the Ekurhuleni region. With the construction programs, and I think I will not go through each of them individually in terms of the delays encountered. The delays encountered generically across the infrastructure projects at Group had to do with the procurement legacy issues. We are, however, moving forward with these projects, as my counterpart at the department indicated, that the MEC has paid specific attention to these project delays. And with his assistance, all of these projects have now started moving, and we anticipate construction to commence in the new financial year, and for projects, bulk of projects to be completed during the new financial year. The TIH, as indicated, achieved 100% of their targets. In terms of the TIH has a footprint in the Ekurhuleni region through its ICASI Labs program. They have 3 ICASI Lab centers, 1 in Tembisa, 1 in Katoris, and 1 in Tsakane. As at the end of December, the program has supported a total of 55 companies from the area. In terms of the sectors which have been represented at the ICASI Labs, they have smart industries, which account for 18%, green technologies, which account for 2%, bioeconomy, 40%, agro-processing 5%, manufacturing 27%, and other sectors accounting for the remaining 8%. From the 55 companies that have gone through the ICASI Lab programs in the Ekurhuleni region, 36 of them are youth-owned, which is 65% of the cohort of the companies receiving incubation support. In terms of what the program offerings are to the community, the ICASI Lab offers SMME infrastructure where they are able to a hot desk and connect to the internet. There are business advisory services, which is technical and business mentorship. There are capacity development programs, both again on technical and businesses, facilitation of access to markets, as well as facilitation of access to financing. During the quarter, there were a few activities at the ICASI Labs at the 3 sites. Some of the activities at Tembisa included a chef training program, which saw 16 young entrepreneurs participate in. There was a skills development program with 32 community youth members participating in, and the Co-Tribe partnership with MLAD program, which saw 16 youth participating. At the Katoris site, there were 2 activities during the quarter, which had to do with a property development, intellectual property workshop for the companies that are incubated at the lab. There were 18 participants to this. There was also a food safety training that took place with 24 participants from the community. Lastly, at the Tsakane lab, there was 1 training that took place, which was in mobile repairs. There were 20 participants on this program. Another key project in the Ekurhuleni region is our Gauteng Industrial Development Zone, the GIDZ. The GIDZ had 1 target due for the quarter related to the Precinct 2 bulk infrastructure development. Again, here we had challenges with procurement, which led to the delay or the achievement of the target. This project has now moved forward with a contractor being appointed, and we anticipate for Precinct 2 to hit the ground during the first quarter of the new financial year. The OR Tambo SEZ program is in the Ekurhuleni region, and it consists of 3 precincts. The OSHA Precinct 1, which is fully developed, OSHA Precinct 2, which is anticipated to start with bulk development during the new financial year, and the Springs Precinct. In terms of some of the highlights with the SEZ, the OSHA SEZ Precinct 1 in the region, the total investment amount for both bulk and top structure was 993.5 million, with the TTIC having contributed 507.5 million for the top structure development. The top structure development was completed in April 2024, and the precinct is now fully operational with a total of 18 investors operating within the precinct. By the end of the last financial year, 23-24, a total of 2,734 active tenant jobs were reported from the 18 investors. This included 8 male youth, 37 male adults, 19 female youth, 41 females, and 269 were unclassified at the time of reporting. A cumulative total of 1,683 construction jobs have been reported during the construction of Precinct 1. Out of the 1,683 jobs, 613 are male youth, 927 are male adults, 68 female youth, and 75 female adults. Again, still at the precinct 1, there are 7 interns participating in the mentorship and internship program at the OSHA. 2 young females are specializing in electrical and civil disciplines, both from the Ekurhuleni region. 1 young male is specializing in electric discipline, and he resides in the Gauteng region. There are 4 interns within the operational activities precinct. 3 of them are young females specializing in public management and 1 in HR. There is 1 intern from the Ekurhuleni region that has been employed. There is also a male specializing in marketing. From, or should I say, during the 23-24 and 24-25 period, there have been 17 SMMEs or subcontractors from the Ekurhuleni region, all 100% black-owned. In terms of export calculations reported at the end of the financial year, a total of 8.1 billion was recorded at the end of the 23-24 financial year in terms of the economic activity in the Ekurhuleni region from the SEZ. The next slides are just going to give an overview of the 18 companies operating within the precinct. I don't think I'll go through the detail of that with you. The status of the SEZ development is that the Precinct 2, which is a greenfield project, the EIA has been approved, EA has been secured, township establishment approved, bulk infrastructure designs completed, and we are commencing with bulk infrastructure during March 2025 with the site development and full bulk infrastructure during the new financial year. There is also a preliminary pipeline of investors secured. The Springs Precinct, which is another greenfield project, is still in the planning phases, when also, however, the EIAs have been approved, the township establishment has been approved, designs completed, and a investor pipeline secured. This is basically an overview of our Precinct 2 and the impact that it will have on the region. In terms of the construction phase, for Precinct 2, we are estimating an impact on the GDP of 6.3 billion. During the operational phase, we are expecting a GDP impact on the GDP of 4.5 billion. In terms of employment, for Precinct 2, we are projecting 3,346 jobs to be created. With the Springs Precinct development during the construction phase, we are anticipating an impact of 691 million on the economy. During the operational phase, we are projecting investment which would attract a total capital investment of 6 billion. Estimated jobs are between 800 and 1,400 direct jobs. And the project is anticipated, or we are projecting to create an additional 2,500 to 4,200 indirect jobs. During the construction phase of Precinct 2, we are anticipating 2,800 jobs to be created. Our last subsidiary, the Conhill, just in terms of the last unachieved target, had to do with the sales and earned revenue. Conhill had a target of 14 million and they've achieved 8.7 million. So it is way below the 50% achievement. The reasons for this was the decline in the use of venues. We are, however, putting mitigations in place with a targeted campaign during the fourth quarter to secure tenancy for parking spaces and the retail spaces, which would then feed into achieving of the annualized target. With the GGDA group, for the 24-25 period has created a total of 7,672 jobs. Of the 672, 1,098 were female youth, 2,346 were male youth, 2,774 were non-youth. Of these figures, 30 were PWDs and 1,424 were unallocated to the GOD breakdown at the time of reporting. That brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think the next one is the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller.
No, thank you, Chair and members. Ms. Nozipo Kongwana will present.
Let me see. Okay. Ms. Kongwana, thank you very much. Sure.
Good afternoon to the chairperson, the members, the MEC, and the community at large. I'll be presenting the quarterly report of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. I think for those who might not have encountered GEP, we provide support to SMMEs in the Gauteng province, both the investment support and also the business development support that might be preparing your business to access a loan or enable you to grow your business and put systems in your business so that you can become much more competitive. In terms of the quarter 3 performance, out of the 13 targets that we were tracking, we have achieved all of the 13 targets, which translates to 100% performance achievement. If you look at the performance trend at GEP, I think we have been deliberate in ensuring that we're improving the performance of the entity. Comparative in the past 3 years, this time in 2022 at 61%, and in this year we have performed at 100%. I think this year what is outstanding is that we've been consistent in terms of achieving our 100% performance quarter on quarter, and we're still embarking on that to ensuring that GEP is an excellent performing entity. In terms of Program 1, which ensures that, that we provide procurement opportunities to designated groups, which is business that are owned by women, youth, and people with disabilities. We have achieved all our targets in that particular area, and we have provided opportunities to women, people with disabilities, and youth-owned businesses. In the area of our investment support, which is the loans that we've provided to SMMEs in the province, we have, as GEP, provided loan funding to SMMEs in the province to the value of 78 million. And also out of that, we've already disbursed about 76.5 million in terms of that. And also looking at our loan funding commitments to businesses that are owned by youth, we've also achieved that target as well. And also, there's also a very close link between our approvals and disbursement, meaning that I think we are also quick to release the money to the economy as well as we approve the loan. We are efficient in terms of our disbursement. Then and also continuing with still the investment support, also in terms of the grants that we've provided to SMME, As well, we've provided about 13.8 million grant that have been approved to SMMEs as well, and also the grants that has been provided to informal traders as well. We've also done well in that indicator. Also Program 3, the provision of business development support to SMMEs in the province. We have provided support to the value of 10.7 million to SMMEs in the province. We also got a program that we call Youth Placement Program, where we provide experiential learning opportunities to graduates. We have placed 100 graduates to learnership opportunities throughout the province, working with our partner entities. In terms of the last program, the Program 4, which is our revenue resource mobilization, we have collected about 37% of what was due. In the veil, we've collected, we've made about 38.4 we've collected about 38.4 million. Then we come to the provision of support directly to the Ekurhuleni. We've got an office in this region, which is based in Germiston. In terms of the loan funding support that we've provided to Ekurhuleni SMMEs, we've provided loan funding to the value of 4.5 million. It came to the Ekurhuleni SMMEs. When it comes to the business development support, we've covered a variety of townships within Ekurhuleni, starting from Tembisa, Wadville, Tsakane, Buhle, you can see, and we've supported 66 SMMEs, and we provided them with grant funding to the value of 2.3 million. It came to Ekurhuleni. And also, in terms of, again, the business development support, we've actually supported 192 SMMEs within Ekurhuleni, covering all the townships that have been listed there. And the value of support, it was 2 million that we provided to the Ekurhuleni region. And also in terms of the informal traders of Ekurhuleni, we've benefited them to the value of 445,000 rand. And it's 90 of informal traders from this region that have benefited from GEP support, and they are all in the townships, as you can see. I think the last slide also is just to indicating our financial performance that is closely aligned to our performance quarter 3 in terms of our financial expenditure. We're at 94%. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Much appreciated. So I understand that the person that's presenting for Deno King and Cradle of Humankind is still on his way. Right. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll allow questions now on what was presented to give the other person then an opportunity to get here in time. And then we'll do a last presentation on Deno King and the Cradle of Humankind, and with questions on that topic. So I'm going to open the floor for questions first to the members this time. If you have any questions, yes, Member Abrams.
Thank you very much, Chair. My question to the presentation now, with regards, it's all great and fair that there's been 66 SMMEs that's been assisted. However, with regard to the grant funding that has been distributed to those townships in Ekurhuleni, what mechanism, criteria are used, will be used to ensure accountability for the money that will be spent on these township enterprises? Are you clear on that one? You were disturbed. You're a bit disturbed. Should I repeat my question? Okay. With regards to the grant funding that has been distributed to those 66 townships in Ekurhuleni, what mechanism will be used to ensure accountability for the money spent on these township enterprises? Does the department have any assurance that the funds being distributed are in fact operational SMMEs? Can we receive a database of that as well? And what tools has been put in place to ensure those? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Abrams. Just want to make sure that you captured the questions. You were able to capture all the questions? Okay, thank you very much. Member Ali?
Thank you so much, Chair. Can I just double check the questions can be directed to all those who have already presented? Am I right? Thank you so much. Okay, so mine will be directed to GEP, the GGDA, as well as the department. In terms of the GEP, I would like to find out what the status of the Kasim Noto Fund is. You mentioned all the accolades that you've garnered in terms of dispersing of funds and how you've done well to make sure that you distribute the funds. I wanted to find particular expression when it comes to Kasim Noto. When last we spoke, we were informed that a good 80% of those who had applied did not qualify because they didn't have the correct credentials or the documentations, and that plans would be put in place to capacitate them so that they could meet the criteria. Has this been done? Do they now meet the criteria? What is the latest regarding that fund? Thank you so much. To the department, it's closely related to that. What is the status of the local manufacturers who were part of the incubation program? I'm told a good 40 to 44 local manufacturers were taken under the auspices of Family Tree Holdings to be given assistance when it comes to access to market, advertising, communication, and also just making sure that they have the requisite criteria for them to scale their operations. But when we interfaced with some of those manufacturers, we were told that the vast majority of their operations have closed down. Have you been able to reach out to the manufacturers? What is the status of that program? And what assistance have they been given? A follow-up question, I wanted to find out what the status of the implementing partner Family Tree Holdings is. This is also to the department. We're told that the contract came to an end last year, towards the end of the year. Has it been renewed, yes or no? If it has indeed come to an end, were they paid out any outstanding monies that were due to them as per that? We believe that that would be errant if that is the case, because they were in breach of contract on a number of different fronts. So I guess I'm being long-winded, but I want to find out the status of that implementing partner Family Tree. Their main objective, of course, was to ensure that they capacitate the SMMEs and to find out that the township economic revitalization spend is at 32%, below the target of 40%, when you had an implementing agent that was enabling SMMEs to qualify is a little alarming. So if you could give us some information there. And I think in closing, this one is for GGDA and the GEP. And I think I'm echoing the sentence of my colleagues here, the sentiments at least. May we please have a list of the beneficiaries, those who benefited from ICASI Lab? We just want to know who they are. Can we also, GEP, get a list of those who had grant funding dispersed to them? Who are the recipients? Can we please know? I think this will be helpful not only to us as members for the purposes of oaths. They want to know who got the money among them and maybe how they... Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Ali, for those questions. Questions on this side, is that all? Thank you. On this side, Member Fikwe, did you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Member Fikwe and then Member Nkubeni. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. Starting with the department, that of the 10 targets that the department had, only 7 were achieved and 3 were not. And we do get the detail, the broadband, but my question is, what is difficult in responding to the Auditor General's issues that the target is not achieved? You know, when the AG says, this is what I want you to correct, whatever control, financial, whatever issues that the committee is not informed on as the second quarter, the second target that has not been achieved. Also, maybe overall question, going into Q4, what are the mitigating measures that we have that will help us to resolve the remaining quarterly targets that we needed to get? On the gambling board, I honestly think that, in fact, on all the entities, Chair and MEC, I think there's been good work done by the entities, in improving their operations. I mean, the fact that we have almost all targets being achieved from a 62% in the last financial year to 100%, that shows willingness and commitment of the entities to do the work that they need to do. On Gambling Board has 10 outreach programs. Of course, it's how to teach communities not to be addicted to gambling. Chair, in the committee that I chair, that does the regulations for the gambling sector, we were given a presentation, and part of the presentation is that as a challenge and a problem, is the fact that there is addiction on gambling affecting the elderly. The elderly gets paid their pension, then they go and blom at casinos. Bahlala lapha. And I'm raising this because we are here with the community. That as a community, we must be worried that abogogo nabomkhulu get paid their pension, but babloma kuma casino. They have taxis that takes them wherever. Taxis that take them from whatever point on the day of pension, deposits. Ayobalanda seba broke. Abogogo nabomkhulu spend their pension monies there. So society, we must be worried. Uguti hasino. How about more? They don't even have money more. So we've said, Chair, in CSSL that part of the awareness is creating a particular awareness for society to get to deal mal. Rekasibili bomkhulu abahlala kuma casino, and it's a normal day-to-day activity. So we're raising it, and the Gambling Board must also assist us, MEC, in probably developing a particular awareness program on this one. You know, kiba baba holo, but habang udula ko dintlung, hore ba ilo dula ko di casino. Are they being abused in their houses? Are the children taking their money from them that they feel or a company by law spender in a casino? So there are societal issues there that as communities and government, we need to look at addressing. So I'm pitching that up, Chair MEC, as part of the awareness programs that with the assistance of the GGB, we need to go into, including getting on board the social development department as well. So that it's not a GGB, it's not an economic development problem, it's a societal problem. So we need social development on board as well. So I wanted to raise that point on the GGB. The Gauteng Tourism Authority also is doing very well, very impressed. I hope we will see in time tourism being increased into the province and into our townships as well. We don't get a sense of activities that are happening within municipalities that the Tourism Authority could latch on to, participating and supporting. Right now, MEC, we're hearing talk of the G20 that is starting very soon in the city of Johannesburg. Also the C20 later in the year that we're not picking up if the in that, because we must leverage these activities in we dealt with the TASS issues, GGDA. I'm very impressed, Chair. When we started in the economic development, MEC, GGDA was a bit of a problem. You know, there were so many challenges in the campaign, including them not attaining and achieving their targets. So I'm very, very impressed, and I'm happy that there is effort to make sure that the entity and its entities do perform to the best of our ability. I mean, the 8 not achieved, I would imagine as well we have mitigating measures so that when we close the financial year, we would have achieved the 8 as well. We're doing good work, but because we are not talking, Chair and MEC, about the work that these entities are doing, we don't know this work. It's some hidden, beautifully hidden secret that GTTA and its entities are doing so much good work, you know, in improving the lives of communities where they are operating. But we don't know. GEP has been our problem child for the longest of time. But here we are today, they've achieved all their targets. Yes, there could be issues as members are asking, but GEP has always been lagging behind, you know, in implementing their budget, in sorting out SMMEs that they need to sort out. Today, we're getting a report that they spent 100% of their budget, you know, which is a good thing. But who knows about it? Who knows about the work that we are doing in all these entities? Nobody does, because we are not talking, we are not even making statements, of course, through the MEC, of the work that these entities are doing for the benefit of society. These entities are not doing this work for their own benefit. It's for the benefit of society. That is why people will come and complain in our meetings, because we don't tell them about the good work that we're doing. We have 20 rands. We have spent the 20 rands. You know, if we added more beneficiaries, we would going to need more money. But with the money that has been allocated to all these entities, the budget has been spent. We don't talk about it. So we don't know about it. Instead, we will focus on negative, that certain SMMEs have not been given funding when the actually other SMMEs has gotten the funding. Letting on to the point that Member Ali is raising. Who are these, so that we are able to say, in Katoras, there are these 10 entities, they have been given support by the department. Then we can come and say, we don't get support, you know, because it didn't come to me. It doesn't mean that other people are not getting the support. And we're saying that because we are not talking, MEC, about this support and these beautiful achievements that the entities are achieving. And I'm just saying, Chair, let's talk, teach people about good work that we're doing so that it's known, so that even if there are challenges, we are able to refer to good practices that we've attained. So well done to the department and the team. I am very impressed. At a point, I was chair of the committee, and I was very despondent because it looked like the entities are not doing what they're supposed to do. But these reports are giving us a different picture. Well done. Don't go back and sit back. Go out and still do better and do more for the benefit of a bigger society that all of us are saving. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Mfikwe. So Member Ngubeni on this side of my right-hand side and my left-hand side, and Member Ngubeni, last question of the members. Thank you. So you may go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, and let's thank all the presenters, Chair, for the presentations. And echoing Member Mfikwe, we appreciate some of the good work that is being done by the department and the agencies. I've got very few questions, Chair. I want to start from the last presentation from GEP. Just to check, all these SMMEs that we are giving funding, and maybe it's for the benefit also of the people who are here, is there any post-funding support mechanisms that we are giving to all of them so that we can be able to ensure that there is sustainability of their businesses? That's question number one to them. And then the other question, given that there's about 4.5 million that was provided to only 3 small enterprises in Ekurhuleni, maybe if we can just get an indication of what was the criteria for selecting only those 3, and are these 3 SMMEs that have been supported, are they showing any signs of growth? Are they creating any jobs? And are they being supported since they received that funding? Those are the two questions for GEP. And then if I quickly go to the entity that my colleague was talking about that has improved, GGDA. I just want to check, particularly with regards to the precincts that are in Ekurhuleni, OR Tambo and Springs. At Springs, I've noticed that there's a challenge in getting the tenants to occupy some of the spaces that are there. Maybe if we can just get an indication of what steps are we taking to get it more attractive to people to go in there, and what are the challenges? Why are people not taking up those spaces? Is it maybe expensive, or what are the challenges? And then when it comes to OR Tambo, I see there's delays that are happening there. Maybe if you can just get an indication, what is the revised completion date of the project? Those are the two questions I've got for GGDA. And then, Chair, if I just go up to the department, I just want to quickly check with the department, Chair, without wasting any time. There's a lot of vacancies in the department, and we don't see that movement in terms of filling those vacancies. Can we just get an indication? Is there a moratorium to fill those positions, or maybe there's another problem? And going back to what Member Mfiko was raising with regards to the gambling board, you know, Member Mfiko, some of our elders are not even going to the casino itself. They are gambling online. So online gambling, it's very popular. And there's nothing wrong if they are winning, you know. But if they get addicted and they're losing most of their salaries there, gambling board needs to protect them. We just want to check in terms of regulating the online gambling board, how effective it is, and how are they contributing to the challenge, the social challenges that Member Mfiko was talking about. If we can just get that indication. And I think all of us know that there's been a challenge in terms of fraud and corruption on issuing licenses, by the liquor licenses in particular. We just want to get an indication if there's any progress in dealing with that phenomenon of corruption in issuing of liquor license, because this liquor establishment, MEC, are everywhere. You know, especially in townships, they are popping up on each and every street, and we're worried that there is a problem in terms of curbing that particular phenomenon. Thank you very much, Chair. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Member Ngubeni, you my left. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to the MEC and all stakeholders. My name is Franz Ngubeni. I will not be long, Chair, but I think it's important that as in when we deal with some of these issues that, emanates from the reports, of course, some they are good, and we're not going to praise them for that because this is what is expected of them. So we ought to, I wanted to raise some of the few things that perhaps we need to look into. I was checking on some of SEZ where, there's a 4 billion rands, that was invested. However, you find that only 2.4 jobs are created, out of so much money that has been invested. We ought to ask ourselves questions that, is this enough? Are these entities doing enough, we always get reports that are very good and very nice. And I want to appeal to, all stakeholders that are here that you ought to tell the truth. You ought to voice out, You ought to speak, because we always get reports that, people are getting opportunities, jobs, But however, that might not be the true reflection. People must be able to indicate. We should not be scared to speak out when we are here that this is not a true reflection of what happens in our communities. When we read here, we hear about certain jobs, and I think it's important also to get clarity as to what type of these jobs. Perhaps we need to have an index separate that, states the names of people who are employed, because we don't even know if this indeed that these people are employed, or indeed people are getting these opportunities. So now that we are here, sorry about that, now that we are here and stakeholders are here, you ought to raise these concerns, and it's very important because it doesn't happen often that stakeholders get an opportunity to sit and be able to ask questions. So we ought to raise even things that are not comfortable. So don't be worried or be intimidated or no, you're going to be summarized in corners because we have spoken about this and that. That has never happened. And also, lastly, I think if there are other issues that perhaps people want to address to us, because I know some might be scared to speak out, but if you have an issue, must raise it with us. If there were applications that we've made and were not successful and all that, we'll leave our details, we'll communicate with you directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to go to the audience, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll start on this side. Last time we started on that side, so we'll go from here. There's 2 hands over here, 3 hands. Can we just get the microphone to the members of the audience, please? We can start from the back, work towards the front, and then we go, and you can put down your hands for now. I will let you know when you can raise your hands once we go over to this area. Thank you. Yes, we start at the back.
Yeah. Good morning, Chair, and the members of the committee. My name is Vusi Vilagazi. I'm from NAFCOC, Ekurhuleni. My question is addressed to GEP. GEP, we have noted that your office at the moment in the region of Ekurhuleni is located at Jimiston. And with this pending issue, you register spaza shops. Our people are crying on the ground. The expenses that is required to register, it's very challenging. So, you being located at Jimiston, we propose GEP, even our satellite offices in the customer care centers in our township, in order to realize the Township Economic Development Act. TIDA is talking of township development. But if the institutions that are meant to assist the very same township-based businesses is on the far flank of their operation, it's a challenge. And number 2, there is going to be a funding for Maspaza shop who qualify that have been registered. We want to know, what will be the role of GEP in order to assist those townships? And when will that program, if there is any, going to commence? Thank you.
Thank you. The next hand.
Hi everyone, my name is Nonia Ngobeni from Kwatsema Stakeholders Forum. Mine is more of a concern. Based on the presentation from the reporting entities on the interventions, it seems as if Kwatema in Springs is not included in the developments. So as Kwatema Stakeholders Forum, we would like to partner with the department and provide database for the different programs offered, because I believe that the low targets presented is a result of some of the areas not given a fair chance to participate. Hence, the numbers don't meet the expected targets. We will even provide you with a secure venue for you to come and equip our people with the relevant information so that we can also be included on the stats of the development plan for the next quarter. And we would like for the ECAC lab, is it ECAC or ECAC lab, sorry, to also be operating in Kwatema. And it seems like the government doesn't do proper research to check priority areas in terms of the development of townships, because it seems like the same areas continue to benefit, and there are areas that are neglected. On the Springs Precinct Plan project, can organizations working with communities surrounding Springs be included in the project? And then lastly, with the GEP, the only time opportunities reach us is 5 minutes before the deadline is closed. That's when they tell us about the funding opportunities. And we would like to know, honestly, the list of people that are being funded, because that number seems to be fixed to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and question. The next person to the front. I think over here. Oh, okay.
Oh, good day. My name is Tembi from Tsagane. My question is about SMMEs. I'd like to ask the criteria that is needed when you want to apply for the fundings for small businesses, and where can we reach them at Tsagane? Because we hear that some people get the fundings, some small businesses, but we don't know where can we reach them or the applications so that we can be able to apply. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. In the middle over here, and then we'll come to the front.
Good day, everybody. My name is Moses. My question is based on the economic development. My concern is based on the stats that they have given, especially on the youth, whereby they said 11% of what they achieved. Here, Ekurhuleni, we had a national youth and was closed in 2021, or just before COVID. I don't know when was the COVID. So it raised a concern to me, where did they get that stats? Because 90% of the youth are unemployed. They don't have anything of them to make the earnings besides being employed. It's a serious question. And in closing, which maybe I could say is an advice to all these people who are giving this, the report, that when mentioning the township, they just have to say township, because now you'll find the questions, especially coming from the lady in front, of saying, what about the colored community? Because in all reports that they gave, the presenters, I didn't see any mentioning of a colored township. I'm based here in Boksburg. The colored township that I'm living with is Regepak. So we need also the stats of Regepak. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. And person here in front, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to say, I think it will be best if we get your contact details, your email addresses, they must be displayed on the screens so that when we go down to these offices, we are able to share our experiences with these departments. Because according to my understanding, whatever that is presented today, it is not a true reflection of what is happening on the ground. We are here, we stay in Ekurhuleni, all of us here, but we seem to be clueless of everything that is happening. I'm hearing my colleagues here, they want to find out where can we meet these departments, what are the criteria that needs to be followed or that are what, I don't know how to explain it, but what are the criteria that these departments are using in order for these SMEs to access these funds and be able to participate and assist our youth on the ground? They are clueless. They don't know how to get these departments. I'm one person who's working on the ground full time, making sure that I knock on these doors of these organizations. The systems are very tough. You can't knock. It's not easy. It's locked. It's locked. Gates are locked. Doors are locked. Windows are locked. There's no way you can penetrate. But you come here and tell us a different story altogether, as if we are beneficiaries of these programs. We're not getting any joy from these departments. So I think starting from today, if we get your contacts, so that if we keep knocking, we come during this time, we want to come here laughing. After they have presented, we want to come here laughing and say, yes, it is true. Because it will never happen for as long as we as SMEs don't have a direct communication with the officials here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Sam Sorongwane. I'm from Tembisa, Andrew Mapetu Zone, Ward 5. The type of work I'm doing, I'm a humanitarian. Issues on the ground, but more often we found ourselves being my gambling as honorable gambling in the older ages, where we spend our time at gambling facilities, whereby all our monies go there. We've got thing of gambling is all over in the township. It has been deposited in the townships. There are gambling places, every corner, every mall, there is a place for gambling. So that's where our money is taken, and nobody is doing anything about it. It's like our community are not educated as to how they must spend their money. So the other problem that I have is with Bo Mashonisa. Mashonisa are taking a greater chunk of our parents' money. As a parent, as an elder, I see people spending their time at Mashonisa's place, whereby I think it is not, it is illegal. That operation is not legalized. But what is happening there, half of them for the rest of their lives, because once you are in there, it's very difficult for you to get out. So we need to address this issue as to how do we talk to the community on the ground. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that are suffering. I will just stop there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution and question. Now we're going to go on to this side, and we'll go from the front to the back. So, the lady in red first. Thank you.
From the back.
Are you starting at the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Good afternoon once again. So I'm just going to also be honest on my side. I'm one of the beneficiaries of GEP. We've received funding from GEP. We've also, thank you. Even though, yes, it was a grant, you know, in manufacturing, the expenses of manufacturing is very expensive in terms of machinery. It's still an ongoing journey. I'm still knocking at GEP for more funding because it's a very intense industry that we are in. And also with regards to Family Tree, I've received also a grant from Family Tree. They've assisted in fixing my workshop. So Ayanda, you are more than welcome to visit my workshop. My questions though is, I think we need for all entities to be intentional about the works that they do. The journey of me getting these grants were not easy. We had to knock door to door up until, you know, we doit, right? But the true matter of the fact is that you need to be intentional about what you guys are doing. We cannot go on about the blanket approach when attending SMMEs. We all have different needs, and as such, should be find specific solutions for these businesses, as opposed to a blanket approach. So all I'm just asking, can we please be intentional with what you guys are doing? Grants, yes, we appreciate, but we need more than just that. Compliance, which is the only thing that's standing in my way. But can we please be more intentional this year? And with GGDA, I just want to ask, are you guys just limited to training, or do you guys also go beyond that, portfolio? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good day, everyone. My name is Bless. Oh, okay.
Good day, everyone. My name is Justice Dladla. I'm from Etogoza. I'm also one of the beneficiaries from EGEP. I do steel fabrication and 3D printing, so I would like to be one of those who would say thank you. Yes, like my brother said here next to me, it was a long journey. It does take time. But I think from my take, what I think why most of us say we're finding it a bit of a challenge is in terms of following up the filling of this paperwork, making sure you've got everything. If majority of us can take a bit of more time in getting more understanding of what is needed, it might shorten that journey of getting that application approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Oh, good day, everyone. My name is Bless from Etutuza. Oh, yeah, before Nia Feda, I'd like to add on what to honor names of the beneficiaries. Can we have that so that, I mean, Etutuza is very small. Le two abai vezela pa, I think ngayithola mangifike lokishini, so to confirm ukuthi kamampela bayitholile, because I'm sensing amangala also. And then again, my brother, I hear you got the funds. Can you please give others long? Nani yakubona lokho. Am I wrong? Yes, the queue is long. And then I have a question. There's a project in Tutuza which is called the John Dube Mega Project. What's happening there? Because each duration will be 15 years, and the budget was 46 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the project was supposed to, it started in 2015, akonto ibonakalayo till date. And there's a project, I'm not sure if is it because it's not in Lisedi, Because Elisedi, project yakhona started after the mega project yaseTutuza, but they are almost done. Even in Devon, there's a mega project which started after the mega project that is in Tutuza, but they are almost done. So I want to know, Uguti, what is happening with the mega project yaseTutuza? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions.
My name is Ketlam Loiv, also from Tutuza. My question goes to GEP. The CEO of GEP announced at Kaya FM radio that they'll be doing development. But ever since I've been to Germiston and the offices in 124, no one in GEP knows about it. More information, or who do we contact about that? And then my second question is training. GEP offers training, but in Tutuza they haven't come. So I would also like to find out who do we talk to about that one. More information about the criteria, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Operating a manufacturing company, one of the beneficiaries of the GP. Gladly so, it was not easy. I didn't know anyone. I just went to the website and filled up the form, and I kept on calling, I kept on emailing, I kept on pleading until they gave me the grant. It was not money, it was equipment. So I can gladly say, guys, they do assist. It's just you have to be persistent with them and be patient because you're not alone. It was something like a 1 year period thing. So you have to be patient. You're not alone. I just told myself that. So yeah, GEP does help, guys.
Right, thank you very much.
I would like to greet all honorable adjudicators. First, based on gambling board, okay? But we've seen some of adverts based on gambling, using celebrities and okay. And then I will come to the Gauteng tourism, drug owners, because to be honestly, South Africa is no longer safe for any individual. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good day to you, Chair. My question is basically latching on to the brother that was sitting here in connection in terms of the SMME funding. Because if you looked at the chart that came up, clearly the townships, the so-called colored townships, are excluded. I mean, we looked at to make sure that everybody gets funding, specific people get funding. Right now, Ward 34 is standing. Second question that I have is, we have an infrastructure that's been a business hub that's been, and it's still incomplete. Nothing is being done. We're seeing absolutely no movement in terms of completing the project. What is happening on that side so that we are able to get into business, use the infrastructure for what it was meant for? We're more than 5 years now, and we're still waiting to even understand what is the mechanism or the way to access that business property. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question.
Sanbonane, igama uThabo wakaghatebe from iNAVCO Ekurhuleni and also Imbizo magazine. So I got few questions concerned. So yokuqala I saw Aswabona, amanya weko active. So please, can we have that list so that we know where can we go for help? Please give us ama sectors Always been neglected. So please, when we do our stats on the screen, include our sectors so that we can know what budget is on which forms, because always youth cries about information. So which platform you usually use for information sharing. Because any information if you are late, and people can apply for opportunities, not even grants, but for opportunities that can help them within their businesses for our resources. Then lastly, my consent is that GP since 2018, I've been approaching a GP. After COVID, they told me that they lost my application. I start afresh. Each Jimistin office, honestly, doesn't work for youth. Because more people know that side. I don't know, but ngati we have a hlupa and u aggressive. But because you want help, and we have a boost with non-financial resources, they don't answer. They told you which one line, so please, even GP, equip your staff on how to handle abantu mabakwira. Thank you.
Greeting to everyone. Igama lami nguThemba ngwakankosi nguya eKatlego. IGP iyanceda. So, okay, igama lami nguThemba wakankosi maka abaningi bangazi ngumshefana. IGP iyanceda. Mina since 2018 bangasista that time ukusase startup grant se 9,000. Ngaphinda nga-apply futhi 2019 for ama marketing tools like business card, brochures and flyers. Then kwasekuba i-COVID. Then nga-apply by 2023 lapho zachinja izinto kwaba online. Cala boki paper to paper. And futhi into eyenza ukuthi abantu bafail i-compliance. Phelela nge-compliance number 1. Mina bang-applyile njengoba beng-applyile njengoba ngikubusiness ngisendleleni for bona. Besicela sibeni nokubekezela. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Ngiphinde ngibuye futhi le iyekasilep. Ikhona ikasilep just inkinga i1 abantu abavuli indlebe. Makezwe is something. As long umngani angayilapho into engekho. Ikhona uSizwe College. Plus ikhona lapho ku business hub. Nami ngine site nginama workshop IT mina. Enye ise EWC but ngale kule business hub. Enye ise placing but okwamanje ngigijima estradeni. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ngicela nibekezeleni danko.
Good afternoon everyone. Igama ngu-Andries Wakamkwena from Imakhalimele Innovations. I would like just to reveal ukuthi nami ngiye ngabenefita from EGEP. Last year I applied and I got a grant where the games that I've invented, the maths and team building game that I've invented were developed by Ikumbula Molding. All 4 of them, they funded them for development. And thanks to EGEP. They also funded the marketing tools. The list goes on. But since we are dealing with the educational support, because these games, they are a maths and business team building game. So when you penetrate into that space, say education, kufuneki compliance is strict. So bengathanda ukuthi, because this year I've went to Inikasi Lab. I went to Tembisa to say, guys, please hold me by the hand, because there are gatekeepers in that space, education. Funeka compliance is strict. So we need one incubation hub to assist to penetrate the market, especially in the field or in the space education. And these games, they need to be mobile applications. Now they have developed them as wooden board games. Electronic. But ngathanda ukuthi iphindisize or recede into developing them into a mobile app, because we are living in the 4th industrial revolution. I thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matsepo Kumalo from Spragueview. I am the one who benefited from GEP, and then I got, And then for you to get funds or grant, guys, compliance. As long as you are not compliant, they will keep on turning you back. Go back and find this, go back and find this. So some of us, we do have businesses, but the challenge is that we are not compliant. So if you are compliant, please go, knock. Somewhere you'll be lucky, somewhere you won't be lucky. But please go. And GEP, you are welcome to come to Spruit View Shopping Center and see it's happening. Thank you.
Sanmonani. I'm from Guatemala Springs. Ngiyamuza sis uthi fanele ku compliance. But bangakuphenduli. Nga apply ngo 2019 until kwaba yi COVID 2020 sahlala and then ngaye buyela futhi until now ngiyafaka amaphepha bathi siza kufonela sizo ngiye futhi mangiya ba check I reference number I thinking na angazi nginayingaki enhle kangisazi ukuthi yipi e right ne wrong abanaki umuntu angifuni uqamba manga nina abancedile nine lucky nine nhlanhla abak helping annex until now I'm still waiting for them and futhi enye into ukibela ngemali ukusuka esifonela imali futhi and mawushiya message ukuthi ngicela yonke into siphelele but no help. Thank you.
Molweni. Elo ome apha ngu-Emma wamaDIA Project Cooperative. IGEP iwasizile ama-cooperative. Njengangoku ndime apha kule ndawo, imisebenzi ye-GEP naziya. Bandinikile imitshini yokuthunga. Siyathunga thina i-cooperative yethu iyathunga, iyakhetharisha, iyalima, agriculture. Nanza imisebenzi ye-GEP. IGEP inenzele i-business plan. IGEP ihambile yostrainer ukuthi ama-business aphathwa kanjani. Yasinika futhi lo equipment ebestrainer ukuthi senza ama-archer. Yasinika lo equipment yokwenza ama-archer. Nibasebenzele abantu njengoba bekhalaza abanye bekhalaza bethanda basebenzeli ndiyacela ukuthi nibasebenzele abantu xa inantsika zabo zi right impepha zabo xa zi right nibenze nithethe isiXhosa mina ngixolela abantwana basekhaya nawundixolela iGEP kakhulu ngexesha leCovid iye yasinikeza imali banikile ama-cooperative imali yokuba beku-COVID singasebenzi. IGEP isebenzile kakhulu ndicela ukuthi niqine nibe phambili nibamkele abantu ngendlela enisamkela ngayo khona ngoba sifumene umsebenzi wokuthunga i-social development ingasinikanga imali yokuba IGEP ikwazi uba mayisinike i-loan yokuba masithunge. IGEP banikizile amanye ama-cooperative imali. I-family trees nayo izinikile umtshini yenike umtshini family trees. Enkosi.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Molweni sanibonani. Nami ndiyathetha. Ndiyaxolisa ngokuthi i-English yam ayiphelele. Ndizoqala ndixolise kusisi okhalazela abantu bebala amakhalati ke ngokutsho. Mina ndilapha eFoslorus. Ndinokwanda igama uViolet Ntibane. Ikhampani bubomi ngumzamo Sewing and Craft. The training provider accredited. The accredited since 2005 from MapSeat, then CatSeat, and now FPM Seat. Ngiyatraina la Boksburg, just la emva kwe offices kaMasipala, kwindawo kaMasipala ekuthiwa i-Creative Arts Center. I-Reha Park ngitrainile since 2007. The trainer abantu bebala base Reha Park, Windmill Park, Villa Lisa. Ngixuba bonke. Ngizama ukuthi abantu bamakhaladi abakhethwa la eBoksburg. Ngoba mangithola i-learnership, mina mangithola i-learnership, i-benefita everybody. Ngigijima kuzo zonke le ndawo engizaziyo ukuthi zinabantu abadinga usizo. Ngine list umuntu ofuna ukuyibona yase Reha Park. Ne list yase Villa Lisa, ngine list yase Windmill Park. Phosphorus angikhulumi ke ngoma phosphorus nezinye indawo. Okwesibili mandithi ndiyabulela ku GP. I-GP abantu bakhona sibazi. Ndizocela kakhulu kumphakathi wethu kubahlali ukuthi masibe ngabantu abathandanayo. Ngoba ingxaki ikuthi asithandani. Ndicela niba tolikele abantu abangasiva isiZulu nesiXhosa. Masithandane si community. Mna ndikwa Ward 46 eFoslorus. I-reason yokuthi ndibe lapha eBoksburg asinikwe Arts Center. Ndingumuntu we-arts and craft. Asinikwe eFoslorus. Sisebenzele ezindlini kanzima. So iBoksburg ngangena ngoBerry de Villiers ngoba besisebenza kanye kanye. I-GP ingisupportile. I-GP ingisupporte from 2011. Ingisupporta non-financial support, yama banners, nama pamphlet, yonke into esetshenziswayo. 2012 yaba equipment. Ngo 2011 yangisa ku mentorship eBrakpan whereby I collaborated ne-Chamber of Commerce yase Germany ne-Standard Bank. Sa mentora apho for 1 year. Ngo 2012 ngathola equipment imachine not imali. Ngo 2018 as a training provider ngatraina ama cooperative ngosizo lwe-GEP ku site Lex Secondary Cooperative head office eJoburg. Angazi umuntu la ngangisizwa ngubaba uNadas. Awayengifaka ama-question engifrustrate. Ngo 2018 ngiphindile ngo 2018 ngitrain ama primary cooperative. 2023 eJimmiston ngatraina ama primary. Ngicela njengoba ngisho ngicela abantu bethu singabi ngogombela political party ukuzunceda abanye abantu. Mna eFoslorus kodwa engizitshele ukuthi into endiyifumene nabanye abantu mabayifuma. Foslorus ongathi i-information akayitholi because once ngathola i-information ngithumela kwi-council, ngithumela kubantu engazi ukuthi kwi-council ukuthi inginikeze ihholo ngispread i-information nge-GEP. Angithumanga i-GEP ukuthi ndenze lonto but ngokuthi ndisizakele ndizama ukuthi ndisize nabanye. Baba waseduduza ngibasizile abantu baseduduza nginabo mafuna ubabona kimi. Ndibasizile abantu basetsakana eFaranani ndinabe listini manifuna ubabona. Endibatrainayo. Ndifuna ukuthi bantu masincedaneni. Ndizocela ku Department of Economic. Sina Arts Center apha eBoksburg. I-Creative Arts Center. Mna ngihlala eFosloras. Kule Creative Arts Center I'm like a manager engabhatalwa. Because I maintain ayikho imali. Kuthiwa ayikho imali. Iphulwe amafestere yigas i-truck eya explode. Yeah, idlaka-dlaka. Abantwana abakho safe mabeyile. Abantwana balapha esikolweni koma 4 tracker Boksburg High benza research phaya. Siyacela ukuthi ninakekele ngoba yiyo into ekhona ye-art center apha eBoksburg. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. Just before you continue with the next person, I just need to make an announcement. I have to leave early due to another appointment, unfortunately, but Member Mfikwe is going to take over from me, and she will continue to allow you to pose questions in this regard, and then we will have another presentation that hasn't been done yet because the presenter wasn't here, and that's on Deno King and the Cradle of Humankind. And then you could also ask questions on that issue. And then lastly, one of the audience members asked whether we could put up our email so that you can contact us and send questions and proposals and remarks directly to us. So what we've done is we've arranged with our staff to put their email addresses on, and then you can send all of those proposals and questions to us, and they will then submit it to the committee when we're meeting, so that we can talk about those issues that you have raised and provide answers to you as well, to provide proper answers for the questions that you have posed, so that there's a direct communication between us and the community. So thank you very much. Member Mfikwe will be taking over then. Thank you.
I'm Justice Mbongo from Katlehong. My questions were when short. Kunja sesatoli report economic report ya 2024 financial year end, and this 2024-2025 financial year end was a good report when they presented to us, but we are not sure that on youth that was trained in Ekurhuleni. They say to us they train 85 youth in Ekurhuleni. They train 45 youth in Davidton, and they also train 40 young people in Tembisa. So if you are saying you have trained people in Ekurhuleni, Davidton and Tembisa is not the only places in Ekurhuleni. We were expecting these youth to be trained all over Ekurhuleni. Even in the colored communities, we are expecting such trainings to reach the places. If you are saying we have put so much money in Katoras, which location is Katoras? Because Katoras is Katlehong, Thokoza, and Vosloorus. If you said you have built a Kasilep in Katoras, where must I go and look for that Kasilep? Must I go all over Katlehong, all over Vosloorus, all over Thokoza? Guys, it must come to an end. If you put money in Katlehong, say we have put money in Katlehong. If you have put money in Thokoza, say in Thokoza. If you have put money in Vosloorus, say in Vosloorus. Because I will never tell you what in Katoras. Thokoza, or in Katlehong, or Vosloorus. This word Katoras is confusing us. Asazi mali ni ibegepi. Or ni ibege Katlehong, or ni ibege Thokoza, or ni ibege Vosloorus. Akekho futhi nomuntu ohlala eKatoras la. Khona abantu base Thokoza, khona abantu base Vosloorus, nabase Katlehong. If you have built a Kasilep in Katlehong, tell us that the Kasilep is in Katlehong, not in Ekurhuleni or in Katoras. The other thing from Gauteng Propeller, you've been listing all the money that you have allocated according to, I don't know, maybe maybe you have allocated the money according to sections, or you have allocated the money according to wards, or you have allocated the money according to logish or regions or sub-region. Because Tembisa, Tembisa is in Ekurhuleni, and it's one. So if you have put 600 million in Tembisa as a suburb, then you tell us that you have put so much money in Londale as a section. So we wonder that if you allocate budget, are you allocating budget with sections or wards or sub-region or with the region? Because now we are in Gauteng, and Gauteng's got regions, it's got sub-regions. Yeah, well, if I may look at these reports, they are not a true reflection. Yeah, well, they are not a true reflection of what these guys are presenting to us. In this parliament, I declare all these reports not acceptable, and I thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natasha. I'm from Ward 88. That's Ara Park, Nigel, which I never ever see on one session on one of these reports, to be quite honest. I'm not only representing my own business, which is an early childhood development center, but the entire Ward 88 early childhood development centers. What I would love to see is, I would love to see our economical development from our government, building proper ECD centers. I've received a call on Monday morning from one of our officials who sits in the Department of Education that said, you know what, Tasha, we are so short of ECD centers that it's not even funny. My question was, I've applied for a piece of land back in 2017 and I'm still waiting for the Department of Education just to approve it. They want to approve it based on the fact that I find a sponsor to build. To approach private sponsors is not easy. So what I can say is our colored communities are being neglected, and so is the early childhood development sector being neglected. Please prioritize it. We are training over 20 to 30 people in our community to be practitioners in the early childhood development sector. And the main question they ask, once they've obtained that certificate or diploma is, Tasha, where are we going to from here? I don't have answers for them because why? I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. There's an infrastructure that's standing now since 2020-21 that's been standing vacant that some of us have applied for, and we are still waiting on approval. That structure is being vandalized by drug users and abusers. One person even tried once to burn it down. That's how bad Ara Park is. It's never on the map. I don't know, is it of non-existence to the government or what's happening, but please prioritize it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Annaline. I'm from Ward 34. I want to know with regards to the GGDA, which says Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. Growth. We need to know where are we growing, because now if we are putting forth a begging mentality to our people in our communities, we're causing unnecessary fights. Because we see it already with regard in Reiger Park. And we're not only a color, so we need to answer to many people. So if possible, how is it allocated? How is the money allocated? The people of the community want all those questions answered. And what will the process be? Also visible in Reiger Park when the business hub is there. Thank you. Sanbonani. Operative ngivela eThembisa. Ngithanda ukubonga kakhulu inke
akekho ongazange asizwe yi-GEP. Sisebenza lelo social worker lilaba usizo kakhulu kithi. Sonke singama cooperatives siba nama meeting almost every month. Akekho ngathi angizange ngisizwe yi-GEP. So mina noma ngizothi i-cooperative yethu i-GEP sizile nge-startup ye-9,000 ngo-2014. Yaphinde yasiza futhi ngokusenzela ama-marketing tools, ama-business card. Yaphinde yasiza futhi nango-2020 basinikeza i-12,000 for i-COVID ukuthi sikwazi ukusustaina i-business yethu. So-ke sibonga kakhulu ku-GEP. I-business lethu lisamile namhlanje ngenxa yokuthi siye sathola usizo e-GEP. So ngixolisa kakhulu kulabo abangakalitholi usizo kodwa ngicela ukuthi baqhubeke belicela usizo e-GEP bazolithola. Then engikucelayo kini my leaders ukuthi kwangathi ningaqhubeka nisiza i-GEP ukuthi ikwazi ukusiza ama businesses lawa amancane ngoba ngathi nje iningi lethu liyalithola uxhaso e-GEP. So ukuthi mhlambe basisize ukuthi basimonitor ukuthi lezo zinto ebasisize ngazo siyakwazi ukuqhubeka noma ukusustain ama business wethu. Ngicabanga ukuthi nakho lokho kungaba usizo kakhulu njengokwesibonelo sisebenzela kuma backyard iningi lethu. So siyadinga ukuthi sithole izindawo ezivulekile ukuthi sikhule sivule ama factory emalokishini sibe nendawo esingahambisa kuzo izinto esizenzayo. Ngokwesibonelo njengamanje siyabatraina abantwana abahleze elokishini ukuthi mabeze bazofunda ukuthunga. Bafunda abantwana ukuthunga but ngesizathu sokuthi akuna income etholayo sizothola umsebenzi uma nje i-social development isinikeze umsebenzi wesikolo. Then kuba kulapho ke kuthiwa singathola i-income. Kodwa uma singenzela mhlambe indawo lapho singathengisela khona kuthiwe nje okay le i-market noma i-mall eyabantu bama small businesses bavulelwe ama-shop lapho ukuthi okay then ke ningakwazi nathi ngokwethu singakwazi ukuzimaintaina not ukuthi mhlambe nispoon feed but kube nemali esiyaziyo ukuthi okay masenze imali engaka sibuyisela imali engaka emalini esiye sayinikezwa ukuthi masisizwe ngayo bese ngacela lokho.
Thank you very much. Are we done? No. Bafwethu. Maybe I should also stand up. I carry when we did the questioning, we started this side. Rafit. Says angapa, sati ka. Siprinangale. If you have a brainwave, little talk after meeting. Or Stepeza. Qualify the email addresses. That no, we don't run meetings like that. That is not how we run meetings. We said we are starting this side. You asked your questions. We came this side. You asked your questions. You made your requests. Referral letter kangwa. I would. How can someone come panji? Retotwane. Nelsa settle kho. Banu emi mutho mo inside the muscles. Order. And again, side, you must respect me. But don't before ki the list. We've no title, but I didn't list. The department will answer. Again, a little bit so they will respond. But we are not coming back this side, colleagues, comrades. We are not coming back. Rehambile, Balapant. Singale. Can we get the last speakers this side? Can we allow the department to respond? Those of you who still have questions, look at the email addresses of our staff, support staff. You will then ask them questions. On your behalf, they will collate that questions and do your question paper and submit to the chair, which is our chair. Then on your behalf, with the chair, we will submit to the department. Yes, thank you very much. So we are going to ask the department to do the responses, but I'm not sure who's starting. HOD, you are welcome, HOD. We did get your apology as well, that you are going to lead the department into doing response community members. Those of you who are beneficiaries, especially of the loan, pay back the money not benefited, can benefit. It's a loan. I get how we look at African Bank, we look at ABSA, we look at loan. Why pay like it? It's a direct access. Let me know the message. But again, loans. Please, let us pay them back. So that other people who are sitting here and are saying, I'm a GEP, so about as a donation, it's a loan. Its terms is repay back. Probably, maybe when GEP responds, they must say, what are the conditions for paying back? Ungile loan ukhutisa, re kgone ho sort out to another entrepreneur or another SMME. Please, colleagues. HOD, number one, who's starting? There were questions from the department and from the entities. And we do appreciate people that are standing up and saying, Nike benefited. We appreciate them. Also cognizant, there are people who are saying, IGEP ki utlwa ka lebitso. I can't say. You know, we do also take that into cognizance. But it doesn't mean that GEP is not assisting. It is assisting. Into nje yinde le queue. Yinde. Ayikafiki. La moto ayikakami kwakho. So be patient and work with us, work with government. So that GEP, if it doesn't mean that GEP is not assisting small business. We've had testimony here, and I really appreciate, because in other areas, MEC, we've gone and people are criticizing GEP because nobody stands up and says, nah, I benefited. So we really appreciate that. But nobody loan, please pay back the money. HOD,
no,
thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Acting Chair and Chair in absentia, honorable members of the committee, MEC, community at large. I would try to mix with the other languages. So maybe let me not start first. Let me take Dr. Bulumko first because he has a pressure. And immediately after that, Dr. Saki, you can deal with the entire JEP issues. And then we can sum up what are the remaining issues that we need to answer to. Can I start with you, Mr. Bulumko?
Thank you, Acting HOD. Molweni bahlali. Ninjani? Phambili nabahlali phambili. Yes, siyabona siyazwana ke manje. Ngizopick up a few questions enizraisile ne. Endingakhona ukuziphendula, we will write to the committee siziphendule kuwe. One of the questions eraisiwe ukuthi iraiswa ngumember Ali. Lokhuza family tree na contract ya iphelile family contract family tree ngo December. Sayithola i-close out report yabo, sayithola ne-evaluation report eyenzwe independent company. So as reports singazisharisha members of the committee with yourselves for information. Into engifuna we mention nje A1 from both reports. In fact, there are two. One is that kunenkinga significant, and ndiyayibona today as people are making contributions. Ukuthi communication between us as the department and our group generally, the community, ayikho strong. Sinezinto sizenzayo, mara sizenza madala side. Nifuna izinto nizifuna madala side asihlangani uyabo. So we need to create a platform where we can exchange information kahle niyithole nathi siyithole ukuthi nifunani. So I think that's the main thing the evaluation report said, that the program itself was poorly communicated by ourselves and Family 3. The second one was the disbursement of money. So even when it was communicated, ukuthi imali khona, how the money moves from ourselves as a department to intermediaries takes time. And once it lands there, many people are frustrated, they're not getting the support they wanted, the intermediary can't provide the support and so on. So those are some of the lessons we are learning. And I like what the other member was saying, remember Ngobane, that we shouldn't praise the fish for swimming, because that's what the fish is meant for. So I'm lifting things that we learned as lessons as a department from the process. Then the other things, I think the report will share the good lessons, the things that we can build on for the future and so on. I won't bore you with that. Then I want to talk about, my colleagues HR might not be here, but I want to just say one or two things about vacancies that have been raised. Oh, you are here? Oh, sorry, I didn't. Then you'll take care of that, sorry. Now let me move on to a sectoral breakdown. There was an issue raised about the creative sector. Yes, we do pay attention to the creative sector, but I think what we probably should do is when you see the emails, send us a specific request, then the person responsible for the creative sector will respond directly to that, because we work with the organized creative industry and unorganized members. Then the other suggestions, I think we will have to discuss that with GP, and I'm sure Usaki Zamkaka will respond to this. Suggestions that have been made around targeting youth, using dilapidated infrastructure. We have approached DID, for instance, to look for infrastructure that is not used, which you could use for supporting SMMEs. So we've got some buildings, but some of the ones you've mentioned are not on that list. So we might want to go back to them as a department and find out how we can access those buildings and see what can be done there to support you. Thank you, Acting HOD.
Sanbonani, I'm Saki Zamkaka. I'll answer some of the questions both on GEP and GGDA, and thanks honorable members, MEC and colleagues. Maybe two general points. Sometime in March, we will do what we call a funding symposium. And the idea is to bring all funders, both public and private, to show what is available for communities. Because part of the challenge, as we're sitting here, I mean, there's one number I think people are forgetting, which is 78 million. That's how much we dispersed directly. So when there's complaints that we're not getting enough, we get it, we agree with you. So we're not saying what is being done is enough, but the reporting we're showing you is that with the resources we have, this is how far we've gone. And they may not be enough. We have CIFA, that has offices in the province as the ID. To have banks that are doing purchase order finance, many others. So part of our role is that we're not always going to have the money to reach to everyone because it is limited. It is also to make the information available about what is elsewhere. And we're going to share that. We do it through our offices. Sometimes we have partnerships with CIFA, NEF. Today we had a strat session where some of them came to present. So that's what we're going to do, because really, as we sit here, I think it's important for everyone to remember, we're not saying the money is enough, but we're saying with the resources we have, this is how far we've gone, and this is how far we can reach. So the discomfort we do get, but it's not as if, which is what the report is saying, it's not that we're sitting on money that we are not dispersing. The money is being dispersed and it may not be enough, but a lot is being done. And I think to the chair, the point on what is the criteria, all of these entities, including GEP, you apply online. We've stopped our online applications now because we ran out of money, but we're also trying to fix the system so that some of the responses you get from the system without having to deal with an individual. But CIFA, well, it's now called CEDFA because it's amalgamated with CEDA, you can apply. So that's how you get into it. And typically when you apply, it's for different things. Either you're applying for what other people have called non-financial support, others call business development support. So you are someone who wants a business plan. So you're saying, I have an idea, I need you to help me put the idea together, and government entities will pay someone to do that work for you. The other bucket gets to be grants, where you get money for free. It comes with certain conditions, you've got to apply, but in all of them, the first step is you must apply. And when you apply, you must say what it is that you want. And then the last category are loans. Loans you have to repay, and most of these institutions have different terms of the loans. GEP, for example, will go up to 5 years. For a term loan, we do sometimes give payment holidays, depending on your cash flows, but you've got to negotiate that with us. And as it has been said, those are monies that must be paid back, because that's what allows us to get back and fund other entities. The first question from Honorable Member Ali was about family tree and what we've done. To give you a bit of background, we approved, when I say we, the Township Economic Partnership Fund, we co-chair it with the IDC. The approval was August 2023. And the funds were always two things. One, you've got to match. You must show us that you can bring 50 million, but over and above it, you show us ability to deliver. So Family Tree came with, initially it was another bank, and that fell through. They eventually had ABSA, and we then said we will disperse the monies only when ABSA has approved. So we concluded that in about February 2024, and we gave them a condition that they must disperse the money in 18 months, and that 18 months is going to end in about August this year, where they've got to demonstrate whether they've met to them. There's about 34 transactions they claim to have done, but that still has to go through the vetting process so that we can disperse the funds. So from where we were, there was a commitment based on them coming with their own implementing partner, which was ABSA. Where they've not met certain conditions as Family Tree, we have raised it with them, and we'll monitor it until the end of the year. But the funds are being dispersed responsibly, and we're watching, and we're not going to give money where there's not been performance. But the committee had asked this question directly, and there is a response directly to it. Honorable Member Mfikwe, and thanks, for the comments generally about the entities, and that's what we're trying to show, that in areas where there's been underperformance, we've put in a lot of effort to make sure that things move. And what we show here, to the colleagues and ladies and gentlemen who are here, these things get audited every year, so we don't come with numbers for the sake of it. This is a legal meeting, so when we put something here to the committee, it is something that is binding. So these do get at the end of the year audited to look at what it is that we're doing. Communication is always interesting because it's a double-edged sword, and I was saying this because we battle as colleagues on what kind of information we put public. Because remember, when people apply, there is Protection of Personal Information Act, POPI. You don't divulge people's information. You don't go to a bank, apply for a loan, and then the day, let's say you default, the bank puts you in a newspaper, or the bank somehow, the CEO is standing on a platform and says, Mpo, we funded that car, he's driving outside. You don't behave like that as a funder. We accept that these are public funds. There's a level of transparency we've got to have, but we've got to also remember that when people apply, they put their personal information, they put their intellectual property, they put their own details, business plan to qualify for it. So the fact that you've not qualified or you've not gotten the money may be that you didn't meet the criteria, or we just simply didn't have funds, which often is what happens, that sometimes by the time people apply into the different branches or online, we've run out of money. So I think as we're busy asking about the list, let's also remember that if it was you on the other side or apply to the GEP, you don't expect that suddenly your personal information is going to be a matter of public debate. So I think that's a caution I'll have. So we'll deal with the committee on what information is acceptable to meet the point of transparency, but there's a point beyond which we can't go because we still have to respect people's integrity. Honorable Ngobeni, post-funding support, again, is an interesting one. So we do post-investment, but typically we look at whether people have met the conditions of the funding or support they got from us. We don't have the capability to coach every business. Coaching businesses is very involved, but again, where do you draw the line on somebody who came to you and said, I have a business plan, this is what I can do, and you taking over that responsibility to be the one that effectively manages that businesses. So yes, there may be instances where we're able to intervene and do something, but let's not take the responsibility away from the entrepreneur, because it's these entrepreneurs who come to us and say, this is what we want. So they've still got to own up to it, even when there is poor performance. So we do limited monitoring, which a lot of it, as I say, is just checking whether we're dealing with these businesses or not. The numbers, whether they are enough in this township or not, again, as I keep saying, it's literally a function of how much budgets we have. We are not going to be able to reach many entities. There's a lady here who talked about being an accredited service provider. It's SITAs who give that money. So some of the money comes from SITAs. It's not always going to come directly from the provincial coffers or from us as the GEP. On the OR Tambo SEZ timelines and tenants, we're now doing bulk, and I think the estimated timeline for that is about 2 years for completion. That's just bulk, and then after that, the top infrastructure, the top buildings have got to be done, and that will probably be another 2 to 3 years. And then at that point, you recruit tenants. So the first phase is complete. Some of it is tenanted, and some of it we're busy looking for tenants. Last week, GITZ did an event where they were making the spaces available. Sometimes, because these projects are long-term, we lose some of the tenants in between and have to relook at other tenants. But there's generally a pipeline of those tenants. But the bulk work, at least, it's coming. We just received approval from Labour to get going, but we're already doing some preparatory work. So during this current financial year, work already is starting there. And then the other honourable member, who raised and said, encouraged the community to be open. It's the same thing, honourable member, as I'm saying. I mean, you as members, I keep challenging you sometimes. You vote these budgets, so you vote to us, 50 million a year because that's what we're getting. We're at 78 million because part of it is money we've collected in the previous years, but in reality, in the MTF, it's 50 million a year for the investment program. Can that make impact in the province as big as Gauteng? We don't think so. But yes, we keep getting additional monies from the department. They've given us sometimes adjustments and we look at partnerships, but the fact of it is that there are limited resources. I mean, there's health, there's police, there's social development and many others where there's competing resources for money, but we being transparent on the fact that at least the money that we're being allocated is being used for what it's intended. May not reach everyone, but it is being used, and that's the message we're mentioning here. NAVCOC, Small Business Development has announced the money for spazas. They've started calling for proposals. We're working with them to see what portion of it is going to be in Gauteng and the process for the applications. But for now, a lot of the applications are going to be on the CIFA website until advised otherwise. A lot of the registration of spazas has been with municipalities, but that's mostly for the compliance part of it. It's not for the funds. The funds, I think, go to SETFA for now to look into it. And then Kwatema, it's not that we are short of databases of people to reach. If we set on 1 billion that we've not deployed, then you can say there's a problem. The reality is, even if you give us a list today, we will not be able to give the money to it because we've simply run out of it. And that's why we look at what other forms of partnerships we can bring to get into it. But also, I mean, the province, despite the flat line, economic development does once in a while reprioritize and give money into it. And that's why it will seem like, you know, we open for applications and they are done immediately. We get about 500 applications a month, and we pretty much are able to fund less than 50 of them. So it's less than 10% strike rate in terms of what we get as an application. So that's just a fact based on the availability of funds. How do you apply? Most of these institutions, it's online because you need a reference number, and that's what makes you to be able to track. But we do have offices in the different areas. They are not enough. Again, it's a function of budgets. We don't have enough money to have people everywhere. We also don't have enough money to have offices everywhere. So we improvise where we can, and also, you know, online platforms help all of us that you are able to apply online. So we hear the point on where things are. GGTA, mostly training, but we do what we call trade and investment and economic infrastructure. So we will put in these special economic zones bulk infrastructure to allow private investors to come. As an example, in Val, Heidelberg, there's a company that wants to do a biochemicals plant. They need, well, what we know now, maybe about 70 million, but that will unlock 2 billion in investments. So there will be those kinds of things that GGA does. So it's funding of what enables economic development. It's not an entity that does direct funding like the GEP. So yes, most of the funding is training, is facilitation, and then putting the economic infrastructure that's going to let us do what we need to do. The backyard funding and rental scheme, or rental in townships, it's a specific program which we funded in the Township Economic Partnership Fund with INDLU, which was about 100 million. And INDLU is mostly based in Galfontein, and they were going to expand. And the reason for them to largely be based in certain areas is that when you're doing these developments in townships, there are challenges with zoning at municipalities, approval of plans, mobilizing tenants, and so they concentrate in certain areas first. But still, a township may not be happening in all of the townships. If you want to apply to them, they're called INDLU Living, INDLU Living. So you can go to their website and apply. So that's a program similar to many others we're talking about, where we've partnered with a third party and people can apply to them. So that is what the gentleman was saying, may have been on TV or radio. Are we discriminating in terms of the areas that we're in? Certainly not. I think townships in South Africa generally either mixed. There may be some that are predominant in certain areas, but a lot of our funding is on a first come, first served basis. We don't demarcate because it's very difficult to manage that. So if you have 1,000 applications, do you first sift and say, okay, we're gonna put 10 for this side, 10 for that side? You deal with them as they come. So we're showing the numbers here based on what has been approved, not based on what we allocate. So we don't choose winners. We don't come up front and say we want to give more money to this area than the other. We want to give more money to projects that are economically viable and are going to contribute to economic growth ultimately. The list of businesses, I think I mentioned that. The committee will help us on how we deal with the POPI issues and still give transparency so that there is comfort on what it is that we're doing. Yes, it's correct. So there are people who may have applied 2018, and many of those times where a lot of the stuff was manual. But from about 2021, we started then introducing the online application so that Even if you didn't, for one reason or the other, didn't get an answer, you can give us the reference number and you will still get the reply, because we're avoiding having that backlog of people who say, 5 years and I didn't get an answer. And the improvements in the system are on. It would help if the lady can give the details to the committee, because we need to know who owns it. You may find it's a municipality or SIFA, because sometimes we've revamped industrial parks which we don't own, because they are important, especially in townships, for economic growth. So even here, if for whatever reason there's a problem and something needs to be done, we can look at how we can partner with the municipalities or whoever the owner is of the property to sort it out. Growth is not quite where it should be. I mean, we know as a country we've been growing at less than 2%. There's been, revisions, a little bit upwards on economic growth, but it needs to be at between 3 and 5% for it to have the impact that we want to do. So even when a lot of the interventions are being done, at 2% growth, we are basically just keeping people employed and maintaining employment. We're not creating a lot more new jobs. So for new jobs to come, it's got to be at higher than 3%. So we take the points raised by the community and the honorable members that are here. I mean, that's what we get paid to do. So we take the criticism as well that comes with it. But our intention and what we wake up to do is to succeed. So when people in this room stand up and say, this is what we got, and that's what we get measured on. So it's to our interest that as many people get it, but we're in an environment where the fiscus is under strain. So there are those kinds of constraints. Thank you.
There will be questions that were raised by honorable members. One question is about the vacancy. There's a major progress in terms of vacancies. We have just advertised for level 1 to 12. We'll be concluding on SMS. So I'm certain in the next meeting we will not have this report as it looks like. So there will be progress. I just also want to amplify what Mr. Bulumko said, that we will not also want to interact with you through emails. We have economic facilitators across the province. And therefore, our discussions with you should also be in person. We have improved the way we work with municipalities. We do have weekly meetings with them. We also have weekly political meetings with them. So tomorrow there will be a meeting with the MEC, with the political part of the economic development. So we also want to help them in programs they do so that we don't run parallel processes as we interact with you. So there is a sense of working together. If they make a promise, we also help to see to it that all these things that we say in meetings like this ones are fulfilled. The lot of other questions that were raised, Saki was able to run through them. So perhaps I must also amplify or underscore the point raised about the colored communities. In as much as the appreciation is not to look at the names, but I think there's a sense in the department that we should actually go to those communities. We should not look at them in the paper. We should also go and see what department can do to help those communities. So I want to assure you that there will be a specialized committees that goes and see how best we can help unlock where there are problems. We are expected not to judge people on their race. We're supposed to provide service across. So in that sense, we take the note that there is a sense that some communities are left behind. We want to indicate that we want to come back to you and deal with those issues. I think there was an issue about the young people. Again, when we deal with economic facilitators, we would have to unlock that situation. Saki makes the point, and we have also requested all across the agencies of government to give attention to job creation, to poverty alleviation, and to ensure that we provide ethical and developmental government as is the priorities of the three governments. There's a lady who made a mention about Guatemala who have some formation, part to the department is that we need to give attention to already existing economic formations in communities, whether you have a Tema business chamber. We also want to interact with you because there's a lot of communication that can be used as a channel at that level. So we also are taking the point that we have started with the one in Togoza, we have dealt with the one in Springs. So we need to get all those formations to work with us. And I think what we said to and look for those people, I think we have done very good progress in the VAL with such committees. There will be a on what do we do and what work should be done. But let me make this point. On multi-governance, or on all of us governing, not government alone, but all of us governing. Not only government is reprimanding, but all of us can be reprimanded. So I take that like churches, like other formations must help us to resolve this problem, because if we think it's going to be resolved by government, I think it will actually not go to where we're supposed to go. So we also want to mobilize other organs of civil society to join the journey to help us resolve the problems of gambling and older people who could be used on those issues. But I think the government must help us to enforce compliance in that sense. As I raise my head, I look at the sister who said windows are closed, doors are closed, everything is closed. Yeah, so I remember I've had 2 meetings with her in my office. With her, yeah. The door is still open. So my sister, the door remains open for you for discussions. I think I've made a couple of issues. So be sure that even after this meeting, we will not be able to, we will not meet with you, we'll be able to meet with you. May I request that the colleagues from the gambling, okay, no, yeah, the gambling body is the last one.
But gambling, we don't need a response.
Yeah.
Gambling.
Okay,
We're
but
saying, let us amplify the awareness program to
Okay.
include the problems
Okay.
that are affecting the community.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Acting HOD. Thank you very much. Come on, Timani.
yeah, and those who are here,
Thank you very much.
Michelle-
Mr. Nawa, this is not your management meeting. So we are giving the MEC to give the final remarks on the reports. He can come here, let's go with my voice. Ali me take you limona go TV fan.
No,
So
thanks. No,
2
thanks.
minutes, MEC.
Thanks, Acting Chair. No. I think we note all the issues that have been raised. And I think they've dealt with the specifics. And I think the issue of SMME support, it's a very difficult issue, because if you give money to what I will say in inverted commas, wrong people, meaning people who are not necessarily entrepreneurial, you will then not achieve your objectives. Because you've got a lot of people who are not even receiving any money from government and who are SMMEs. I was telling Honorable Ngowen, and who are creating jobs and who are running companies. And I think we have to help those people, but you also have to help new entrants so that you don't close new people out. Because amongst new people, there's a lot of people who have potential. So if you close them out, you will not be able to know who's got potential and will not be able to succeed. So that's why we've got a structure of grants and loans, so that through the grants you are able to help as many people as possible. But the truth is you will not be able to help everyone. So it's not possible. I will ask, I don't know, I was trying to deal with the maths. Even if you were to give, let's say we've got about 16 million people, if we were to give at least 10 million, Member Ngube, each person, 10,000 rands. I don't know, just do a calculation. No, I think it would be, it can be 10,000 times 16 million people. It runs into billions. It don't be a million. It's more than the how if you were to deal with it. So what I'm saying is that we have to work together and do what they're supposed to do with the money that they're given. Because they take the money to do things that have nothing to do with business. Buy cars, buy clothes, throw parties and all that. So that's why we need to make sure that and I'm happy that there are people who are saying we have been helped. But I would want to hear them saying we have been helped and we are succeeding, and if there was a loan, we are paying back. If it was a grant, we have been able to build our businesses and reinvest ourselves. Reinvest ourselves, because if it's your business, it can't be that you only expect government to be the only one that invests in your business when it's your business. So government must create a conducive environment. Government must help with skills. Government must help with market access. Government must help with funding where possible. But I want to thank the committee for continuously engaging with us. We are ready to answer any question. So if you say you want people, so don't say, yeah, maybe now you have not been helped and say no one has been helped. It doesn't work. Say, Mina, I've not been helped. So we are saying to you, we have helped. So it's not correct. How do you know? It can't be true. So we shouldn't do that. I think let's be constructive. But if you say Mina as Lebohang, I've not been helped, that's accurate. But if we say we have helped Katlehong, or we have helped 3 people in First Loras, you can't say it's not true. Unless you've got contrary to that. Perhaps you can say 2 is not enough. Why don't you help 100? And then we can be able to help 100, maybe limited resources, or this and that and all that, so that we have a meaningful interaction, so that we don't waste. Don't call them to meetings for its own sake. When they're here, the time that they spend here, they must be able to get information that they might not be having, or information, as they say, doors are closed and all that they're not able to, so that that's why we are here. We open those doors. You know, it's good that, so I was telling Member Ngobeni, we have offices in all the townships. But you know what it means? It means the limited money you have, you must use it on operations. We must pay rent, we must pay water, electricity, we must hire people. So we'll never have money to help small businesses, because we would have to. So we've got a choice to make between using money on operations, paying rent, electricity, offices, limited money, taking it into the pocket of the entrepreneurs. So you must tell us what we must do. If you're saying no, take that money and pay for your offices and hire more people, pocket of the entrepreneurs, so that the entrepreneurs must be able to have, you see, even people who have been helped are saying it is difficult to get, it takes long. So one of the things we want to do, we're going to do, is to invest in the system for Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, so that when you apply, and I'm glad I had someone saying, no, I didn't know anyone. But we want to take it further, so that when you apply, if the system is digitized, you don't have to meet anyone from Enterprise Propeller. You must be able to submit your application. You must be able to monitor and see your system, who has received it, when, what is their comment, why is it delayed there, if it has not been approved, why it has not been approved, and all that. So that this is, because it can't be right that you wait for a year or 2 years just to be told that you are not helped. Or even if you are helped, it can't, because times move. There's a lot of the business idea you are having, steal it, or someone else might implement it, and all that. So we have to be agile, and that's what we are investing in on the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, to make sure that with the liquor, because there was a member who was talking, with the liquor board, we already have a system that's digitized. So you can apply for your liquor, which is something that we are going to talk to the public about. You can be able to apply online, and that's what we want with the propeller, because the system that you have, which Umama says, it gives you a reference. It mustn't end there. It must give you a reference and tell you that your application has been referred to Lebogang Maile, and then Lebogang Maile's email is this, and the contact number is this. That system, so that you don't have to know anyone. What we want to do is to do away with human interference. Because if you want to fight corruption, you must do away and cut human interference. So if the system is able to do, to be able to get there. So we are aware that the system is not perfect. And that's why you might have people who have been helped. You have people who are still waiting for response, people who have not been helped. So we are dealing with that. And I hope that next time, when we come here or we go to any other community, we will not get people saying we are not able to get response from GEP. You rather say to me, they have not, because I've had people saying to me, they say they don't have money. So they don't have money. And now they don't have it. That's what they say. So what must I do, Memangowing? They say they don't have money. So it doesn't work like that. If money is finished, they will be able to say. But they should also not be scared to tell you if your business plan, because remember, sometimes your business idea might not be making sense. And you might believe that your business idea makes sense. And when they look at it, because the idea is that your business must, so it's not everybody who applies who qualifies to get money. It doesn't work like that. So I know the things I say, it's not the things you will want to hear. And that's why, but I'll tell you the truth, because me, I'm the MEC, I'm not in the legislature. So I know what can be done and what can be done. So I must not lie to you and create an impression that when you submit, you will just get money and all. No. But what I must ensure is that when you go to GEP, you must get help, and you must not wait for a longer period. Whether they are helping you or not helping you, you must know on time. And GEP has got other partnerships with CEDA, with the private sector. So Sagit spoke about the funding symposium. So we've got a lot of funds from the banks, from to me and says, we've got 200 million to spend for enterprise support. But a lot of you don't know about that. A lot of you don't know what's the criteria. So it's not only government that has got the funding. So that's why we said, no, let's organize a funding symposium so that we bring all those. In that funding symposium, honorable members, we are partnering with Proudly SA. So they are having Buy Local Summit on the first day, where those who are manufacturing casing. And then on the second day, we have this a funding symposium. So banks will say, we've got 200 million, we have 300 million, but for you to qualify, you need to 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm happy there were people who were talking about compliance. It's important. You can't want to run a business and have a problem with paperwork or have a problem with compliance. No, it doesn't work like that. It's either you want to run a business or you want to have a job. So if you want to have a job, then don't run a business. But if you run a business, it goes with paperwork. Because imagine if your business grows and you are supposed to pay people salaries. You are supposed to monitor whether these people are coming to work or not. You are supposed to monitor whether these people are adding value into your company or not, because you can't be paying people who are not adding value. Your business is going to go under. You are supposed to monitor your product is going into the market, whether it's growing or not. That's paperwork. Responded to sufficient. The reason I was saying no, I shouldn't say it's not because I don't know and competent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. You also, I see, have the NCOP, so we move. We don't have the petitions. We move. I know bereka. So kupa batho ba lefileng tsone. Ka mantswe a wa itebogela ngwana Mfikwe, re tla kopana hape. Thank you.